All right, and I'm going to go live on YouTube now. I mean, on TikTok, we are live now. Bada bing, bada boom. Here we go. Let's go. The party is on. The party's on. So hopefully the sound is going to be great today, because that's the goal. The goal is perfect sound. So please let it be so. Delicate is on. She must be in the car. What's up, Delicate? How you doing? Leo Edits is there. Everybody's joining the TikTok. YouTube is sad and lonely. Sad and lonely. What's up, guys? How you guys doing? Did you guys have a good day? Oh, look at the lovely little hearts. Are they different colors or something? Some kind of like live thing going on, like summer thing, or I don't know what the hell's going on. What's up, Dr. Susan? Hope everybody is feeling good. Angela will be with us momentarily. It was a very busy day on the Karen retrial. It's very good to see you as well. Yeah, YouTube is up. Alyssa's here. What's up, Alyssa? How are you? We got some folks coming over. We just got live. Started a little late. Angela will be joining us momentarily. If you don't know who Angela is, she is an incredible person, and she'll be here momentarily. She's got lots to say. And then we're gonna, get into all of the day's bounty, I suppose I'll call it, for lack of a better term. But I hope everybody's day is going well. Hi, Dr. Susan. I was thinking about you today, as a matter of fact. Isn't that interesting? I was just thinking about you. Just randomly came to my mind. I love that about this channel, is that like, and then just doing this stuff with you guys, is that you guys are on my mind. Like, I think about you. I love that I think about you. It's like really, it feels good to like to have people out there that I'm like, hey, I wonder how, Delicate's doing. When Delicate was in Coachella, I thought about her every minute. When Alyssa's asking when we're going to do the transcripts of Dawn's Plum, Angela's going to join us. Hold up. Let's put that question to Angela. She's kind of the like Dawn's Plum transcript archivist. She's kind of in control of all of that stuffs. So, yes. The answer is we're going to, and Angela and I will talk a little bit more about what we're going to do. By the way, I'll wait till everybody gets around here to hear this, because I'm excited about it, because we're going to do like I can tell who's here right now. There's only a few of us, but we're going to do from the beginning again, the Baldoni and Lively dispute. So we're going to start over. I'm going to cover all of it again for the YouTube channel, which I'm excited to do because we never did anything for YouTube, and it's kind of a dry period right now for that story. So it would be really cool to kind of create the content that we were creating over at at TikTok on YouTube. So we're excited about that, and that's going to be coming soon. We haven't figured out the exact dates for that, but we're going to go we suspect it'll take about a week to do a full 5 lives. So that's like 10 hours of just Blake Lively and Baldoni deep dive. And I really want to do it because from a filmmaker's perspective, from my perspective, from the trouble I've been in and through, their story most aligns with mine. And so I really want to get in deep with it with this new format. So I'm spending the rest of this week kind of getting everything tweaked. Today, Angela is she hasn't shown up yet, but when you see her, I haven't even seen her yet with this new color correction on her camera, because her camera records in a log form or a raw form. So I have to actually do color correction, and I just had I just threw a what they call a LUT or a lookup table. I just threw a manufacturer lookup table on her, and so today I did a little bit of the color correction, you know, so we'll see. What's up, Stephen? Thank you, sir. That's very kind of you to say. I'm sure the same is true for you, even if I can't see you. Good to see you. How are you, bro? We have so much like planned for these lives and for this channel. I'm so excited for it. And you know, the cool thing is like what I'm ultimately trying to do is get to the point where I can use what we're doing together here to create content, you know, that is educational. We haven't really gotten into a lot of that yet, but I want to get into the educational stuff, and then obviously the entertainment stuff, and you know, all the analysis or whatever you want to call it. What would you call that? What do we do? Just commentating, right? The color, all the color.
Color commentating?
The color commentating.
I feel like every time I was late to class. Like I walk in, you guys are already started.
Angela, you're so late.
I gotta hurry up and get my pen out and my notebook. Okay.
I was like, wow. Well, you're not used to putting on makeup, so there's that.
Sorry.
It's very upsetting. Wow, this looks good, guys. I can't wait to show you Angela.
You're not supposed to tell them I wear makeup. I'm supposed
It's
to.
on your face.
I'm supposed to have woken up like this.
Oh, right.
I woke up like this. It's just. I just roll out of bed and.
So there's the new color of Angela, which I think looks very good, even though it's not done. This is just. I only worked on it for about a half hour. Doesn't she look lovely? Aren't the colors nice?
You guys, I don't need your scrutiny. Thanks.
It's not. No. It's they're scrutinizing my work as a colorist.
Okay.
Good. You know, this is my LUT that you're on. That's on you right now. It's not like, you know, it's not like a full color. You know.
What were you? My ears
correction.
were burning. You were talking about me.
I'm always talking about you, man.
And the Don's Plum archive.
Yeah. So Alyssa's here. Say hi.
Hi, Alyssa.
And Alyssa is asking about when we're going to do the deep dive, the Don's Plum deep dive. And I do think we should do this, and I do think we should do it soon.
Okay.
And Alyssa, you know, I think one of the debates we'll probably end up having is whether or not we want to do it live. And I think I like to do everything live. I feel like I'm a live guy.
Well, if you screw up, then everybody sees your screw up. So why would you want to do live?
Oh, because like I'm going to cut it to publish the stuff, but
yeah, I know. But if you screw up, what if you say something incriminating? What if you say something that makes you susceptible for defamation?
Well, yeah, that's trouble. Stefan has a really good idea. He says, please come April 1st, have the live broadcast upside down and never once address it. If anybody, I'm going to do that.
Stefan, you're a genius.
It will be done. So a friend of mine, Brian Klugman, he did a short film called The Great Upside Down. And it starts, and you think that, because these guys are both really short-haired guys, so you think they're just having a regular conversation, and then slowly the camera's turning until they're upside down, and then it widens out, and they've been hanging by their ankles the whole time.
But you could tell, right? You can tell when somebody's face is upside down.
It didn't work.
He had high hopes.
It didn't work.
I hope you guys can't hear my stomach in this microphone. My stomach is talkative. His stomach's like,
is it?
I have some input.
I have a difference of opinion.
And another thing.
And another thing. What's up, everybody on TikTok?
Oh, sweet.
How are you? By the way, if you ever want to check us out on YouTube, you just have to click the link in my bio, and it'll be there. I am going to eventually get the streaming key so that you guys can see everything that we're doing on TikTok, on YouTube, on TikTok as well. But for now, if you want to see Angela, you can only see her on I'm a
YouTube exclusive.
On YouTube, yeah. And I just did a nice new color correction on her camera, and everything looks really sweet.
Leo Edits on TikTok is saying, I have a Don's Plum edit I'm working on. That's exciting.
That's exciting.
I can't wait to see it. That's awesome.
I'm going to put it on my no notes section.
Yep.
We'll go up. I'm just going to put.
Well,
no
you
notes.
Don't know yet. Maybe you'll have some notes. I don't know. All right. Let's see.
Well, I'm just showing my bias right now, and I'm saying I'm not going to have any notes. See?
I'm so embarrassed for my stomach noises.
I don't can they be heard? I don't know. So we have a lot to cover today. A whole lot, actually. Like piles of stuff. It's an interesting thing. We do these lives and we take like 15 minutes, like we're stretching.
Hey, Dale.
But it's, of course, we're just low. We're waiting for some of our regs to show up. Guilty Angel just arrived. What's up, Guilty Angel? I don't know if she just arrived, but I just saw her.
You mislabeled today's live. It's number 2.
Oh, I put it as number 2?
Yeah.
Shit.
Can you fix it?
I don't know.
I think you can fix the title.
Well, I can after it.
Okay.
Shit.
It's a do-over, guys.
I feel like sometimes I'm stupid, you know?
What? That's not stupid.
I'm
That's
just
a mistake.
stupid. I hate me. I hate me. I just completely
Stupid
hate me.
idiot.
Stupid idiot.
Just
I'm a fool.
Stupid.
That's why nobody likes me. We have so much to cover. I hope everybody is really super happy and feels good today. I feel good. Do you feel good?
I feel fine. Everything is terrible. So that's just like the base level.
Everything is terrible?
Everything is terrible.
Is it okay to feel
doing great.
Is it okay to feel fine while everything is terrible?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think it's important to feel
Aren't some
fine.
of the most poignant pictures we've ever seen somebody enjoying something peaceful and beautiful in a time of war?
I think it is very important to feel fine and to pursue nice things when everything is terrible. I think that's like a requisite. But it's like how are you doing when everything's terrible? It's like I'm doing great, but
right.
If I think about it for more than a minute.
Sorry about all the tens of thousands of people that died today.
Yeah, right.
No, I know it's hard to it can be hard to separate when like
the unbearable weight of reality
I've
is
had
easy
so
to forget until you ask.
I've had comparatively so few days of feeling great that I just don't fucking deny them when they come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I've had too many bad days
Yes.
to reject the good ones as they come, even if the circumstances aren't ideal or even bad.
That is a great reason to answer that question happily. Because it's true.
Delicate just said. What? Wait, Dr. Susan said I'm having a weird and odd week, so I really want to hear a little bit about that if we can. But then JC Delicate added, I don't know what she's saying I do too, or maybe I did too, but I saw pics of Travis Kelce's hairy back. Looking at his brother, I should have known.
You know what?
Because there's no way because fucking, Jason Kelce looks like a hairy gnome, like a giant hairy gnome.
But listen,
what?
Wouldn't it be great if they were all like so irritated with this Justin Baldoni like PR bullshit that they were just like, hey, I have an idea about how we can change the narrative. And they just came up with like the funniest ways to change the story.
Travis Kelce back here. I wonder if I'm the only one. I couldn't be the only one who, like, my immediate visual was Taylor Swift's fingers in it. I'm sorry, but I just immediately saw her fingers.
She's gonna write a song, and it's gonna be like she's gonna make it sound really nice.
Yeah.
Instead of horrible.
Well, I haven't seen the picture, so the fingers are buried in it. It's like the Wolfman. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying like Travis, like,
listen,
do you ever see those guys who have like hairy backs? Those hairy backs go, they're basically ape men, and I guess this isn't it's kind of like a little Richard body shaming in this way. I'm pushing my hat up so I can make it, and then there's like, and then you can see like the cut line under their neck. Yeah, where they had to shave right down to where like it was tolerable to where where it would be hidden by the collar.
The barber is like standing back there. He's like, I have artistic license with this, right? Like I don't really know what the rules are. Like, where does it start? Where does it end? I don't know.
Delicate's like betting that Taylor Swift had him do the fucking old fucking.
Oh, the waxing.
The waxing.
Hey,
dude, that's like an episode for their podcast that they should absolutely do.
Are you body shaming? Are you body shaming?
Well, I just said it's a little Richard situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Speaking of Little Richard's situation, I have something to show you guys later.
What?
Yeah. Not. Well, I'm just gonna keep it.
What do you mean you have something to show?
Stay tuned. The suspense builds.
You're You're going to forget, and then everybody's going to be so upset.
There's only a few people here who know what the Little Richard reference even fucking means. But, you know. Ange is here, by the way.
Who'd you say?
Hello, Ange. A-N-G, Ange.
Oh.
I'm not sure if you've been here before, but if you have, hello again. And if you haven't, welcome. And it's not because I don't remember you. It's just because I don't remember you. So don't think anything other than that.
I want to hear about Dr. Susan's weird and odd week.
Yeah, can you tell us about your weird and odd week, or is it private? Or were you just throwing that out there?
I drove to Fort Worth on work trip, and my car got hit in a hit and run.
Oh, shit.
I have a little PTSD from it. Of course you do, Dr. Susan. That's terrible.
You were in the car? I got hit and run by a Chick-fil-A driver.
And then she changed the subject. I'm grossed out now for Port Taylor. I'm glad that you're okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry you went through that.
It's terrible. On the road, too? That's awful. Guilty Angel says...
Jacqueline's back. Hello, Jacqueline.
Guilty Angel on YouTube is asking, can we talk about Don's Plum?
Which... On YouTube? Yeah, we'll talk about Don's Plum for sure. You know what I'm going to start doing, actually? I just decided that the lives... I'm going to put the lives on every day. I'm going to put the live on YouTube an hour and a half before, and I'm going to play Don's Plum. So it's just going to be, I'm just going to broadcast Don's Plum live every day that we're doing a live with a countdown for our live. And it's just going to be a way where potentially if we grow, people will watch Don's Plum. It's fucking awesome. What are you thinking of that? Do you object? Your face is almost sour.
I don't think that's a good idea. No. Because if I want to tune into a show, I don't want to have to like scroll through the movie I've watched a bunch of times already.
You're not scrolling through anything.
No, yeah, don't. You said that you're gonna do it's gonna be in the same file.
No,
on YouTube?
no. It's. Oh, I see what you mean in terms of the replay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point. All right. Well, we'll talk about it then. That's a very good point. Thank you for pointing that out. Anyway.
Dr. Susan said it was almost T-boned.
Wow, that is traumatic. Holy shit. Well, I'm sorry you went through that, but I'm glad you weren't T-boned. Almost is better than not being T-boned.
Yeah, I don't even know what you do about that sort of thing. Like when
about getting T-boned?
No, when you're like really like stressed out from it and it lingers, you know, like PTSD.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of any like what are some tricks that people can do? Like, you know, with dogs, you know, you can just like give them a calming treat. You know?
Right.
Maybe like some CBD or something. Like, I don't know. I went through something really, really traumatic and I had to drink a ton to like go to sleep.
Like alcohol?
Yeah, without freaking out about it.
Yeah.
That was a million years ago and I'm over it now. But like right after, I think it's really normal to be like super, super frazzled and unsettled for a while.
Yep.
It's super scary. I'm so glad you're okay.
Dr. Season's suggesting I do a couple of live readings. I think that's a great idea. I will do that for sure.
You stopped because they make you emotional.
I started getting emotional. Yeah, it can be tough on me emotionally a little bit, you know.
We can just record each one and then compile it for an audiobook.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, let's see if there's anything in the chat before. I have some things I wanted to talk about today.
You have a lot of things, and so do I. We just got into. Well, first of all, Delica took us down that incredibly fun ride.
First of all, before we move on, you know, I said that Taylor Swift is going to write some lyrics that is going to make his back hair sound nice.
Yes.
Fucking Ange on TikTok did.
This
is so great. I can't wait.
All right, let me hear.
Okay, Ange, you're so amazing. The lyrics are, you in the forest grown on your back that we ventured into together. That's exactly what she would sing.
That's fucking brilliant.
I've been here once before a while ago. Forest.
That's fantastic.
Oh, man.
That's really good.
She's gonna. People are gonna have to read into it and be like, is she talking about his back hair in this one?
Oh, my God. What if she does write a song about his back hair? It's entirely possible. You know, like Ben.
Yeah.
Right?
Amazing.
Like there's a song on you know that song there's a song on like a ballad on one of the Black Sabbath albums that's about I think about his dead dog, I think.
Oh yeah, well
his dog died in
Guns N' Roses wrote
I think it's Changes. I'm going through changes.
Yeah. Guns N' Roses did a song about having to put his dog down.
Yeah, I used to love her, but I had to kill her.
Yeah.
Now
Very
she's
clever.
buried in my backyard. Yeah, I know. At first you're like, oh my God, he's a serial killer. And then you're like, no, he's a dog killer.
Leo Edit says we're going on vacation to California, so I might be able to actually see Don's Plum.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, you mean like Springbok?
Yeah, it's called the Springbok Bar and Sports Bar and Grill in Van Nuys. And the interior is different. They remodeled, so it's not. You can see the booth isn't there anymore, right? But
No.
But the door to the bar in the back is the same. And then the fight takes place in the seating area in the front.
Yeah.
Is that Ventura Boulevard? No.
No, Victory.
But they don't have the same, like it used to be all surrounded by hedges and stuff and more private. So it'll look different. Anyway, you should totally go. That'd be fun.
Yeah, no, Springbok is still, it's a cool little spot. I mean,
We don't know if it's any good.
yeah, I don't know. It's been there a long time, but it's also it's not in like a great spot. It's not in a tourist spot.
It's not a tourist attraction.
No. That is at a local neighborhood. It's a local neighborhood spot for sure. But I actually ate there and it was pretty good.
Leo Edis is bummed. They can't sit at the booth.
Yeah, when I did the New York Post interview.
They wanted to take you back.
Well, we did go back there. There's a there's shots of me at Springbok.
Was he bummed there wasn't a booth either?
I don't remember what he was bummed about.
I was bummed.
I don't recall.
I was bummed when we went in there and there wasn't a booth. Okay. Shall we move on?
Yes. Before we do, just somebody talking about how good your voice is. Just saying.
Oh, really? That's so nice.
We were just talking about it. We were just talking about that, like.
Going, oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's really nice of you. We were just talking about that. We were sitting, and I was talking about how great her voice is, and then Angela was saying, "I hate my voice."
Yeah, I have always hated.
And I was like, "It's weird because it's objectively good. Like I hate my voice. People like my voice. I don't think my voice is objectively good. I think it's my voice is subjectively good."
I think I've just never been able to, like, I need some, like, speech therapy or something to get over my nerdy cadence. I kind of wish I was.
My nerdy cadence.
Yeah, see
I don't want people to understand that I'm not actually a nerd.
I just, it's, yeah, that's me. A nerd. Everyone can hear it.
You're a wonderful nerd.
Hey, can you do on your setup there, can you do an image search for Jim Morrison's grave?
Yeah, I will.
Bust?
Hey, just to get onto some of our stories, Haley Bieber.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, Haley Bieber. I'll definitely pull that up for you. I think I might even have it here. I think I saved it, but if I didn't, I'll go get it. Haley Bieber says that postpartum life has been, quote, very difficult, unquote, close quote. And amid speculation about her marriage, she says it's such a mind fuck. And I was immediately I can't help but think about Blake Lively in the situation with the wardrobe truck. I just can't help immediately but think about it because obviously as a man, and this is true for women who this must be true for women who also haven't had children, because it's really an incredibly singular experience. There's no nothing like it. And so, it's just impossible to understand what she was going through, not only physically, but mentally. And true about like the marriage. Like that's not the first time I read that postpartum can include things like souring of the marriage or creating like, some kind of tension that wasn't there prior to the birth of the child. So I'm just saying, like, it just always brings me back to that. And here we go. Haley Bieber, which has that weird tie to the case, is talking about her postpartum and how much of a mindfuck it is.
Not to make everything about astrology, but there's the, in the astrology chart, right, on the wheel, right before you're born.
Yeah.
As the wheel turns, and then there's the moment of your birth, which is charted by your ascendant degree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Before that is the 12th house.
Right.
Your ascendant degree is where the first house is. That's the first house of yourself, your identity, your, it's like the most personal placement. But the 12th house is that they say that it's where you were before you were born, because the astrology chart is about your soul and not about your physical body.
Right.
So that was like a waiting room before you got born into your first house.
Yes.
The 12th house is like the underworld sort of space, like the beyond the veil.
Beyond
it's like
the veil. It sounds like so dramatic.
Like psycho-spiritual realm that you can access with psychedelics. It's also the place where, like, if you are, like, severely injured, you have to dip back into this place of, like, profound healing and separation from everything.
Right.
In your whole life. All your work, all your relationships, everything stops while you heal. That's a 12th house experience. The reason I'm bringing this up is that they say that when women go through childbirth, that is a very transformative 12th house experience.
Oh, yeah?
Where they descend into the underworld, and then when they return, they are changed.
That's interesting.
Very different. And I think a lot of the times when people have really struggle with the change, the transition from a person to that person as a mother, it's a new identity. And sometimes they struggle to integrate it because nobody's properly prepared them for that really transformative change in their self, in their sense of self and what they are and who they've become. Like, I don't think anybody who's become a mother is like, oh, I'm totally unchanged. I've always been the same person. I think everybody goes through this, like, super profound. It's like a death experience where you are, like, reborn as this new version of yourself. So anytime that somebody says that, like, having a kid postpartum experience is like a mindfuck, I'm like, yeah, you just you just descended into the underworld and came back out a different person.
Wow.
Like, you're never, like, of course it's going to be a mindfuck.
It's really an incredible thing because you're literally like, you know, I mean, you're holding this vessel for this event that's happening where, you know, there's some kind of spiritual, very serious spiritual.
It's a change. I think that other cultures have prepared people better for that journey. And I think that in our culture, we don't really like to talk about stuff like that. No, so people have to go it alone completely. And I think that's one of the reasons why.
Exactly what Delicate just said, you know, they just expect women to figure it out.
Yeah.
Hey, I heard if you hold your breath and push hard, something happens.
Or, like, you know, like put you in an institution because you can't figure it out because you're not, like, playing nice like they expect you to.
I remember I was reading, I can't remember what book I was reading, but I was reading about, like, something about, you know, Native Americans or just Native North Americans and a specific tribe had, like, or maybe it was universal among most tribes, but they had menstrual huts. Mm-hmm. And so when their women were menstruating, the women were put into these places of pampering where everyone, like, you know, waited on them and, like, made sure that they were okay, and they were, you know, had, like, you know, whatever I can't tell you specifically what happened, obviously, but I can tell you that there were culturally there were these things in place to, like, help women through being a woman, you know, whereas men are just like,
it was an experience of, like, isolation or whether it was experience of, like, taking a break because people did hard labor every day. And so I wonder whether being, like, put in there was, like, kind of nice, like a little break, or whether it was, I read, like, it as you go in there because you're not safe to be around anybody else because there's some sort of spiritual shit going on with you or something.
What I read was that it was, like, a place where women who were going through their menstrual cycle, maybe it was the heavy days, I don't know, whatever it is, but when they were going through it, it was a place where they were cared for. Mm. It was a place where they were cared for, you know, obviously for menstruating. You know, remember,
we should
like,
bring that back.
Yeah, I'm literally like, why don't they have that? Like, why don't they have where women are being cared for through their these things? And
because men would bitch about it. That's why we don't have stuff like that. That's why.
It's so weird to bitch about something that's biological.
No,
like,
I know, but they would be like,
as you're right. You're saying like it is, but
you're like, why does she go to vacation? You know, where's men's menstrual huts? Anywho. A guilty angel said, menstrual huts sound cool.
Dude, I'll meet you at the menstrual hut. Don't forget to bring the cards and the card table. All right?
They put up a disco ball.
Yeah, that's right. Like, you know, some dude comes in.
Open bar.
What the hell is going on here? You guys are all, like, partying.
With, like, Shark Week's playing on the...
I thought you'd be washing her feet. What the fuck is going on here? You guys are having a dance party.
It's like a sports bar, but on all the TVs is Shark Week.
You You're a funny motherfucker, Angela.
Sometimes.
Oh my goodness.
Mostly I'm nerdy.
You're
Okay,
super
pull up the
nerdy.
Jim Morrison's grave bust.
Yes, ma'am.
You don't have to pick a picture. There's a few. Like, there's various... All through the decades, this thing has looked worse and worse. Can you show people? I can't tell.
I'm working on it. The answer is yes. Yeah, CNN has a nice picture of it here. Oh, not that one.
Okay. In the meantime, Alyssa's asking, can you explain how Leo has interfered with them distributing your movie?
Can I explain how
Leo has interfered with them distributing your movie? Is this a trap?
It's best explained by Jason Blum in a 1998, I think it was, article in Premiere Magazine. On the cover of that was Gwyneth Paltrow, if you ever want to look it up. And they did a really big article on Don's Plum. And in it, Jason Blum, if you don't know who that is, he's famous from Blumhouse Pictures. And so Jason Blum was interviewed. And in that interview, he said that Rick Yorn, who is Leo's manager, he went to... He had a conversation with Harvey Weinstein, then, of course, the head of Miramax, and told Harvey that if Harvey worked with any one of us or bought our film, that there would be consequences. So that's like an example of it. We're down to 2 people on TikTok. Come on, TikTok, what happened? Don't leave the 2 people who are there alone. Is it just Leo Edits? Who else is there? Hey, Leo Edits, if you want to come over to, YouTube, that's where the rest of the gang is, if you want to come over. Wherever you're comfortable. Yeah, you're there. I can see you, man. Thank you for being there. I hope that answers the question. But yes, the bottom line is that he interfered by simply telling people that if you want to work with us, with us, meaning Leonardo DiCaprio at all, then you can't work with Dale Wheatley and Artie Robb or Don's Plum. Sucked. And that is how I lost millions of dollars, just like that. Isn't that fucking... lame.
So he threatened distributors. He said there would be consequences for distributing Don's Plum.
Yeah, in the book I describe a moment that was told to me by one of our sales guys where Leonardo DiCaprio, where we had an offer for $750,000 for the rights to Don's Plum by an Italian distributor. It was the same Italian distributor who also had the rights for Gangs of New York, which was filming at the time in Italy. So he purchased the rights to Don's Plum verbally, agreed to it, and then went to the set, to the Marty Scorsese set, where they were filming Gangs of New York, and he met with Leo. And he apparently joyfully was like, Leo, man, I just bought your other movie, Don's Plum. And Leo turned to him and said, if you, not immediately, but in the conversation, if you go forward with working with Don's Plum, then you're not going to get Gangs of New York, you're not going to get anything. You'll never get a Leonardo DiCaprio film again. And I know this happened because at this point, the Italian distributor agreed to a $750,000 deal, and he had to renege on that deal just days later. And he's reneging that deal. With Zentropa, Lars von Trier, who at the time was probably the most celebrated director in Europe. And the company, Trust Film Selves and Zentropa, were, one of the most sort of exciting and successful European film distribution companies. So, there you go. That's that.
He's not allowed to do that.
He's not allowed.
He's not allowed to.
He's not allowed to do that.
No. You're not supposed to interfere with somebody else's movie like that. He didn't have the right to do that. It's really weird.
I just put my browser on the screen, guys, and so that is right there. That's Jim Morrison's. That's Jim Morrison's fucking bust. So the story behind this bust, by the way, is that after Jim Morrison died, a sculptor had sculpted this bust, and he left it on his gravesite, on Jim Morrison's gravesite in Paris. And then I guess not long after, Do you want to take over?
It was for the 10-year anniversary of his, grave.
Right.
And he...
that's when he made the bust?
Okay, so let me just tell you guys about the news. This bust had been stolen, and it was missing for decades.
Right.
And it was just found.
I know, just now.
On accident.
They raided a house.
Okay, check this out.
And in it was this lost...
Let me read this. So this is from CBS News. Jim Morrison bust found by chance during police search 37 years after it was stolen from singer's grave.
What?
French police have recovered by chance the long-lost bust of American singer Jim Morrison that once adorned the grave of the iconic frontman of the Doors 37 years after it was stolen from a Paris cemetery. The sculpture, missing since 1988, was found during a search tied to a fraud case led by the Paris Public Prosecutor's Office. Let's see, a bunch of French words I can't understand. Okay, the sculpture by Croatian artist, whose name I can't pronounce, had been placed at the grave to mark the 10th anniversary of Morrison's death, and it was found by the Financial and Anti-Corruption Brigade of the Judicial Police Department of the police. Morrison's grave in an area known as Poets Corner is perhaps the most visited resting place of a musician. In 1991, on the 20th anniversary of his death, a riot broke out at his gravesite, forcing the cemetery to hire extra security. After that, a guard was permanently stationed at Morrison's grave.
Holy shit, can you imagine being that fucking famous that you got that you're dead and people are still trying to get a clip of your hair?
Well, if you see a picture of it, they're trashing this place all the time.
Well, they see it. They see it. If you don't see it. Oh, because you're reading, yeah. But I've got the graffitied grave.
Do you want to just scroll over to one of the original photos of that bust, because it didn't always look so shitty.
It's not as easy to do, but because I'm live on that screen, so it would look.
Anyway, I wonder if they're going to replace it or put it someplace else.
So they found this bust, and it was 37 years ago. It went missing. Mm-hmm. And God, I was so young. Wow. It went missing 37 years ago, and they found it on accident. What an awesome accident.
I think.
What a bunch of fucking losers for taking it.
I think Val Kilmer had something to do with it.
His death?
Val Kilmer, in his autobiography, in his memoir,
yes,
he talked about his whole process of becoming Jim Morrison for the Doors movie. And he said that he had embodied him so much that he felt like he was possessed. And he even said that when he was recording with the other band members of the Doors, that they would... So, when Val Kilmer would screw up, apparently they said he would say the exact same thing that Jim Morrison used to say when he would screw up. And that he was acting in character so perfectly, and he'd say the same things and do the same things, same mannerisms and everything, that the bandmates were like, "Hey Val, you gotta quit it. It's a little creepy. Cut it out,
Val, now is not the time."
Can you imagine?
It's very funny.
So maybe from beyond the grave, Val Kilmer hooked it up.
I believe in that shit.
Made it right.
All the time.
Tried to run, tried to hide.
It was me trying to find I didn't realize that was a video. It was me trying to find your untouched grave. LA Times has one, but there's a paywall. Anyway, that's kind of neat, right?
Yep.
Thank you for sharing that. I thought it was really cool. Poor, Did you hear, by the way, that Jennifer Lopez used a paparazzi photograph of herself and the paparazzi sued her? How about that shit?
Yeah, because she didn't pay for it.
Yeah, she didn't pay for it. She literally stole a photograph of herself. She probably felt like there was a certain entitlement to it. She's like, "It's me. I'm entitled to it." But that's not true.
There was a guy who took a picture in the they have a line of fans that greet somebody at the stage door, when they come out.
Yeah.
So now I can't remember his name. Who's that comedian that we like? Who's just got this new talk show now? Crap.
The comedian that we like who just got this new talk show now.
I know. I can't. He's a former SNL writer, and I can't remember his name right now.
Not John Mulaney.
Yes, that's who.
Okay.
Anyways, somebody posted a picture like, "Hey, I just saw John Mulaney and I took this picture of him," and he was like, "Oh, this is rad. Can I use this?" And the whole thread, the whole text thread is on social media. So that's how you're supposed to do it, Jennifer Lopez.
Silly.
Yeah. So he used it on his promo for his tour.
Oh,
He used the same picture.
I just saw an error on that. Chiron?
Okay, I have more things.
More things. Tell me more things.
Okay. Do you want to talk about researchers tricking people with AI? Or do you want to talk about Kevin Spacey is blacklisted?
Yeah, let's get right into the Kevin Spacey thing.
Okay, cool.
Let's get into the Spacey thing. So Kevin Spacey was given an award at
is
Cannes.
trying to launder the history of what he did.
Right.
by claiming that he's been blacklisted instead of like, oh, I don't know, facing consequences for his actions.
Can you believe this shit? Well, first of all, this is the crazy thing, right? So, well, actually, let's get into his victim count.
Okay.
After his speech. You're gonna read this?
Yeah.
So Kevin Spacey, he's accepting an award at Cannes. What was the award?
It was at Cannes, but it was a different event. Let's see. At the 78th Cannes Film Festival, down over by the Carlton Beach, tonight, the Better World Fund Gala. So blacklisted, he's attending galas. Handed out his its award for excellence in film and television to two-time Oscar winner Kevin Spacey.
Which, by the way, if you discount the horrible things he's done, it's deserved.
Yeah, and it's a legitimate organization that does this. Last year, they awarded it to Juliette Binoche. Okay.
Yeah.
While Kevin Spacey was accused of several allegations of sexual misconduct, he was found not liable in 2022 New York lawsuit, and he was acquitted by a jury of sexual assault charges in 2023 London court. Still, the American Beauty Best Actor Oscar winner hasn't been invited back to any major Hollywood productions. That's how, and he's now making his bread on myriad indie, foreign sales-funded feature projects. Okay, here's what he said. Do you want me to read this?
Yes.
I'd like to congratulate Better World Fund Gala president and founder Manuel Colas de la Roche for the decision to invite me here tonight to accept this award. Boomed the usual suspects supporting actor Oscar winner. He goes, who would have ever thought that honoring someone who has been exonerated in every courtroom he's ever walked into would be thought of as a brave idea, but here we are. That's such an ass. That's not... That's a not realistic portrayal of what's going on. Okay.
No.
I've been thinking of someone else you saw earlier on the screen tonight, Kirk Douglas, great American film star. It was a long, long time ago, but we have to think about the pushback that he received after he made the brave decision to stand up for fellow colleague, two-time Oscar-winning screenwriter Dalton Trumbo, who had been blacklisted from 1947 to 1960. He was blacklisted. Blacklisted, we know what that means. He couldn't find work in Hollywood for 13 years. But even after he was warned, if he tried to hire Trumbo as the credited screenwriter for Spartacus in 1960, he'd be called a commie lover, and his career and professional status would be canceled. Kirk Douglas took the risk and would later say, and I won't do my Kirk Douglas impression, but he said this, "It's easier for us actors to play the heroes on screen. We get to fight the bad guys and stand up for justice, but in real life, the choices are not always so clear. There are times when one has to stand up for principle. I've learned a lot from history. It often repeats itself. The blacklist was a terrible time in our history, we must remember, so that it never happens again." Kirk Douglas spoke those words in 2014 when he was 98 years old. Of course, people know about Dalton Trumbo and the Hollywood 10, but I suspect very few of you have ever heard of the 475 other industry professionals whose lives were destroyed by false allegations during that lengthy, dark period. And today we find ourselves once again at the intersection of uncertainty and fear in the film business and beyond. And Dale and I were reading this earlier. I just had to stop and just be like, yeah, the uncertainty and fear that you're gonna face repercussions for being a creep on set and trying to pick up on preteens and all the other things that he's been accused of doing. I'm sorry, that's not an unwarranted uncertainty and fear. You should be afraid of that.
For sure.
If you're a predator, you should be afraid. Sorry. That's just how it goes.
Couldn't agree with you more.
He said
it's absolutely completely ridiculous.
To align with the blacklist.
So he creates himself as this. So he creates himself as this victim. He's creating himself as a
Yes.
victim, and he's and
Because Dalton Trumbo was a victim.
was a victim. This guy was
Dalton
actually
Trumbo
a victim. Yes.
didn't do anything wrong.
No.
And he was blacklisted.
That's right.
And of course, Kevin Spacey wants you to think of him that
And
way.
he was blacklisted by being wrongfully labeled something.
Mm-hmm.
Kevin Spacey had how many accusers? How many people
30.
come forward,
30 men,
including two?
including at least 2 who were 14 at the time. And he was in
14-year-olds.
his mid-20s.
Two people who were 14 at the time when he was in his mid-20s?
I'm not saying I know anything about Kevin Spacey's career, okay? But I'm just saying, if you're accused of something like that, you don't go around beating the drum of like, oh, I'm the new Dalton Trumbo and everybody should get behind me. Like have some respect for the severity of what you've been accused of. He's also, Kevin Spacey just failed from the start too, because I don't know if you guys remember in 2017 he did this instead of like
That crackling fire thing he did?
oh yeah, well that was after that too. Like he's completely not sorry. And then he decided to use his response to the allegations. He decided to use it to come out, where he was basically made himself the victim because he didn't want to be outed that way, but he decided to come out like, I'm gay, I date men, you know?
Yeah, you said, well, I guess since...
To try and get sympathy from people?
Yeah, and he try to shame people for not respecting his privacy.
Right, but also, like, in that case, the accuser that he was responding to had been 14 years old at the time, and so everybody was like, what the fuck are you doing, equating you being gay with you being a pedo? Like,
so I met him.
Let's not do that.
I met him. The meeting is actually in the book, Kevin Spacey.
Mm-hmm.
But I also knew a lot of people who worked with him. The guy who introduced me to him was working with Kevin Spacey on his directorial debut. I don't know if Kevin Spacey actually made a second movie or not, but Brandon was on his first movie. And, oh shit, I forgot where I was going. I apologize. It's totally faded.
when you met him, he was nice, though, right? He was, like, normal dude. Like,
Yeah, he was an incredibly kind
wasn't
guy.
like a
Oh,
creep.
sorry. What I meant to say is that at that time, this was 1990. Well, I guess it was 1995.
It was
Leo's-
DiCaprio's
it was-
21st birthday.
So it was 95. It was November 95.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, he, everybody knew he was gay. Like 0% of the people I knew were unaware that guy, because he was,
That's
he
why.
was-
That's why
because-
he's such a manipulator for.
well, we knew because
deciding
he
to do
was
that.
he had a reputation for being aggressively gay. You know, that is to say that he would impose himself. Like there were a bunch of people, Brian
He'd
Singer,
like just make a pass at everybody on the set or what?
or just in the room. There's a scene. I'm going to leave the guy's name out of it, but there's a scene. Like this is how brazen it is in Hollywood. There's a scene that I actually ended up cutting from the book, which might make the limited series that we're going to get. We're going to get a limited series, people. But in it, a very famous TV actor and I are hanging out. He's gay. He comes up to me and I have a pack of Marlboros, Marlboro Lights, in my front pocket.
Mm-hmm.
He comes up to me and he comes really close to me, like, close up shot, the two shots where like it's the cop and the criminal and they're having like a conversation, but if they just puckered, their lips would touch.
Yeah,
We were like that close.
It always makes me uncomfortable in shows where they do that. Where I'm like,
Why are they
"This is
so fucking close? You're too close. There has to be another way. But he gets that close to me and he grabs a hold of my cigarettes and my cigarettes are very close to my junk. And he grabs a hold of my cigarettes and his thumb, when he grabs a hold of it, is against my junk. And he shakes the cigarettes in my pocket.
Like jostles them?
Jostles them, thank you. And he says, is that a pack of cigarettes in your pocket or are you just happy to see me? This is at the Gay Pride Parade, the first one I went to.
Oh, well, he must
in
have been
1995.
like, open season here. What the fuck?
He later, and so I was, I was.
Well, so how'd you react?
I don't remember really. I remember being completely shocked, and honestly,
Yeah, that'd fuck with your memory. Actually, being involved with something like that, a lot of times you don't remember what happened next because you're so startled. Your brain stops
I
recording.
probably froze like I did when I was a kid, when I was a little boy. When I was a little boy, I froze.
Yeah, it's messed up, man.
So, but that's how brazen that shit was in LA. Like that wasn't an unusual situation at all. That was not an unusual situation.
I just don't know why he couldn't just own up to that part of it. Like why Kevin Spacey can't just be like, yeah, okay, I'm forward, I'm confident. I turn people off sometimes. Like maybe I'm a little bit too, like obviously he doesn't want to admit to doing that with 14-year-old boys, but I just don't know why he has to try and reframe himself as the victim instead of somebody who, I don't know. He's probably seeing what Justin Baldoni's doing, where he's like going, being interviewed and admitting, like fully admitting that no didn't always mean no.
Right.
And he's like, damn, why don't I think about that?
I should have just went with that and made a podcast while I was at it.
I know.
Fuck yeah.
Anywho, so poor Kevin Spacey is being blacklisted.
Oh, don't we all just...
Do you think he's going to work in
him.
Hollywood again, or do you think everybody just doesn't want him around?
Yeah, I think he probably will work in Hollywood again. I think it'll be a very long time. But look, I mean, this move is an attempt. It's a funny thing because this isn't just about like his friend at Cannes hooking him up with a friendly honor.
I think
they're testing right now to see
definitely
if they can get him back
for sure.
And it's also like Hollywood wants him back. I'll bet like producers want him back because it's not fucking easy to find somebody that talented in Hollywood.
Well,
he can play like the guy can deliver a movie, and that's really hard to find in an actor. So they want him back, I bet.
It doesn't look good the way that he's been doing these weird like video antics. Like he's made like
no, he really hasn't handled his cancellation.
So I wonder
well.
whether his reaction to all of this going on has hurt his reputation more than the allegations. Because if say that you bring him on set and he parades himself around like a peacock like this, and he's like, indignant about what was done to him, and he's just, complaining about being blacklisted all the time, and I don't know. I mean, he sounded really gracious and very in the rest of this acceptance speech.
Well, he's an eloquent man. He has eloquence pouring out of his fucking veins. It's the sort of the sadness about him, really, because he to me, I idolized him as a talent. What blew my mind? I mean, Glenn Ross, but the Ref, actually. I just
Me too,
loved
dude.
him in the Ref.
He was one of my favorites all the time. Everything I've ever seen him in, I was like, this is fucking great. He's so good. And the way that he reacted to these allegations hurt his reputation more than the allegations to me. Because like, how do you not fucking apologize or take any accountability for anything that you've like you can't even say that you're sorry you made people uncomfortable. Like you can't even say that. He was just a victim the whole time. I hate dudes like that. Yeah,
it's not well, it just feels like you're not getting anything sincere out of it. You're gonna get like the same old fucking song and dance,
Okay, let's see if anybody
Hey Erica, what's up?
Guilty Angel said his reputation's damaged beyond repair. We'll see what happens.
Erica says, I think he'll work again, but I don't think he'll have the same level of success, similar to how Mel Gibson still finds jobs, but isn't the star he was before all his scandals. It's so weird because Erica is exactly on. You're right. Dr. Season says she's so right. You're totally right. I think that's exactly. I mean, he's already in these indie films, so, and they're going to try to cut him into. That's exactly how they'll work him in.
Well, Mel Gibson really relied on somebody like Jodie Foster bringing him in and legitimizing him again.
Right.
Like, so he'll need a champion. I think he's looking for that person. With this acceptance speech, I think he's like, opening up shop. Dr. Susan's like 30 men. Jesus.
30 men came forward accusing Kevin Spacey of improprieties. And he wants to play the victim at Cannes.
Dr. Susan said, even if just one of the 30 is correct, that's too many victims.
Well, this is one of my biggest problems with the way things work, right? Because it's literally like it's like if you're a one-time offender of these kinds of things, you have a really good chance at beating it. Because it's a one-on-one, like he said, she said situation. And if you live like if you can one-off a couple of these things, or you can get like accused once every decade or so, seems like you can just get away with it. Like, what bothered me about my situation was that, like, it was that because just because Leo never did it again, it must mean either it didn't happen to me or it didn't matter. Like, one victim isn't enough is where I'm going here. Mm-hmm. Why isn't one victim enough? Why can't, it's enough when it comes to killing, Why can't it be enough when it comes to everything else?
I know, it's horrible.
Like, why do you have to have stacks of why do you have to have like rooms filled with women?
Oh, but when there are
complaining about one person,
when there are rooms of
to be
women,
heard.
then it's all of a sudden like a big conspiracy that
Well,
they've all, you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
well, of course,
So
they're
they'll
gonna-
discount whether it's 1 or
Yeah.
10 or whatever.
Well, America hates women.
Nadia is asking on TikTok.
Hi, Nadia.
A question: is Leonardo a nice person off camera?
Well, yeah, I would say he is.
Well, you don't know about him now, but
Yeah, I don't know what he does now, but when look, I love the guy, man. I mean, if we're talking about the Leonardo DiCaprio I wasn't feuding with, I really loved him. And what was weird about it was that I heard later, after all the trouble I had with him, that before he and I had become friends, he had a bad reputation, and I didn't know this, which, sort of tracks with Seth Green in my book coming up to me and telling me, "Bro, get away." But that was the first time I ever heard that Leo had a bad reputation, was when Seth Green came up to me and said, "Get the fuck out. That's a bad scene." And I thought he was just being jealous. I did. I was like, "Oh, you're fucking jealous." Because, like that's a lot of what you see in Hollywood. You see this everywhere when, there's envy is unfortunately something that can come up in these kinds of situations. And so I immediately thought, oh, he was just being envious. But no, that wasn't the case at all.
Nadia's asking, wait, sorry, what did Leo do to you?
Oh, he destroyed my life, literally. I wrote a book about it. It's called Too Real a Hollywood Memoir. And just to let you know who I am, my name is Dale Wheatley. I wrote and produced a movie called Dawn's Plum in 1995. And Leonardo DiCaprio approved the movie for theatrical release and everything. And we were set to go forward, and we were negotiating the deal when Tobey Maguire, his best friend and also a close friend of mine at the time, showed up at my door banging on it and saying he wanted the movie Dawn's Plum to burn. I spent the rest of that night trying to convince him not to let that happen, but he decided to twist the words that we exchanged that night into a bunch of lies that he took to Leonardo DiCaprio, who became incensed, if not, well, I guess enraged. So enraged, in fact, that he ended my relationship with him, ended Artie Robb, the director's relationship with him, and destroyed the movie and our reputations and our careers all in one night. And I wrote the book about it. It's called Too Real a Hollywood Memoir. It's a blast. It's not the best pitch I've ever given, but Dawn's Plum, by the way, you can see that on my YouTube channel. You can get all this by just clicking on the link in the YouTube link in my bio. And if you want to check out toorealbook.com, you can check that out also from there. But
Dr. Susan said that's why you hurt from this partly. You genuinely liked him, I think.
I loved him. I actually loved him. Here's the thing, like and I don't know that I successfully pulled this off in the book, and I really did want to, but when I got to LA, I gave up everything. The sacrifice was to give up my past, my entire past. When I got to LA, my past consisted of the amount of time that I had spent with Jeremy Sisto, which was less than a year, like 6 months, 4 months. I don't even know what it was. A number of months, right? I think it was before Christmas we started hanging out, but whatever. A number of months is what my whole history was, and then everything else was just me telling people what my history was. As compared to living in Canada, where I was from, and where people were like, "Oh, I know Dale. I lived with. Yeah, I was there for that. I remember that." I didn't have any of that. It was a really strange experience that immigrants. It's what immigrants go through. When you show up with your backpack,
You're brand new.
you're brand fucking new. So it didn't take long for me to really attach to the people who were like, "I think I like you," really, because I love you. You know what I mean? I've been trying not to say it, but now I'm going to say it. I love you. You know what I mean?
We're family.
We're family. So I felt very close to Leo and Toby, and they reciprocated. I mean, the words "I love you" came from them multiple times. And people use that term loosely, clearly, as evidenced by my past with them.
Cosmic Urgency is with us.
What's up, dude?
Said,
Are you a dude? Can I get your gender straight? Because I'm
what are your pronouns, bro?
what are your pronouns, bro?
Seth Green, co-star of Amber Benson in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah, that's a very funny way to put it. That's a very interesting way to put it. Yeah, exactly right. Seth Green. He had a very interesting career. I was kind of like always on the fence with him as far as his abilities go. You want to get back on track? We're probably way off track, and we're already an hour into this.
I have
Lovely time we spent together.
I have one more item before we go to the trial coverage.
And then we got to get into Karen Read, which was like
It was a big day.
crazy.
It was a big day today in the Karen Read trial.
Yeah.
I got you guys covered. All right, let me see. Sorry, Kevin Spacey, that you were so wrongfully blacklisted, just like Dalton Trumbo.
Dalton Trumbo.
Oh my God. You and Dalton Trumbo. Okay, I'm sorry. Let me find this. Okay, so researchers, this is a new study. This is a new study on the theme of how everything's terrible, guys. We are so screwed. Okay, so researchers have decided to figure out how easy it is to trick people into changing their opinions with AI.
This fucking article
Spoiler.
is horrible.
Really, really easy. Okay.
Really easy.
Yes. This was a secret. This is in the Atlantic today. Let me just see this. The title of this article is "The Worst Internet Research Ethics Violation I Have Ever Seen," is how it's titled. Because ethically, you're not supposed to conduct research like this. But they were like, I have to tell you guys what we found.
Hilarious.
Okay, so the Atlantic article goes, a secret experiment that turned Redditors into guinea pigs was an ethical disaster and could undermine other urgent research into how AI influences how humans interact with one another. The article is by Tom Bartlett. Scientists at the University of Zurich wanted to find out whether AI-generated responses could change people's views. So over the course of 4 months, they posted more than 1,000 AI-generated comments in the subreddit Change My View, okay, about topics ranging from pit bulls to the housing crisis to DEI programs. A quote, "In one sense, the AI comments appear to have been rather effective when researchers asked the AI to personalize its arguments to a Redditor's biographical details, including gender, age, and political leanings. A surprising number of minds indeed appear to have been changed," Bartlett writes. Those personalized AI arguments receive, on average, far higher scores in the subreddit's point system than nearly all human commenters, according to preliminary findings that the researchers shared with Reddit moderators and later made private. But the researchers had a tougher time convincing Redditors that their covert study was justified. After they'd finished the experiment, they contacted the subreddit's moderators, revealing their identity and requested to announce to members that for months they had been unwitting subjects in a scientific experiment. The reaction was swift. Amy Bruckman, a professor at the Georgia Institute of Technology who has studied online communities for more than 2 decades, called the Reddit fiasco the worst internet research ethics violation I've ever seen, no contest. The prospects of having your mind changed by something that doesn't have one is deeply unsettling. That persuasive superpower could also be employed for nefarious ends. Bartlett continues, still, scientists don't have to flout the norms of experimenting on human subjects in order to evaluate the threat. This is why I am always going back to how we are. Can we get a 2-shot? It's a shame that Alex Jones made such a mockery of the concept of InfoWars, because we have been in an information war for a really long time, and it's not a conspiracy theory.
Well, it's projection. We know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. He used it as a tool very effectively.
For sure.
But if any of us think that we're not in a situation in which we're constantly bombarded by nefarious information manipulation, then it's happening to you.
Right.
Right? Then you're on the wrong side of it. It's just this AI stuff, man.
It's fucking frightening.
I'm against it.
Delicate's wondering if old JW in Texas used it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
For sure.
I'm sure that's already being deployed.
100%.
I think these researchers were acting to prove stuff that's already being used, Yep. The worst people are going to start using this against us. So we just have to, here's the theme of this decade, is that everybody just has to think before they believe what they're seeing. You got
to use critical thinking, but you also have to, unfortunately, we're at a time now where you have to do a little bit of work if you really want to know what's fucking going on. You can't just accept this. And when we do our lively Baldoni recap, I really want that to be a lot of the theme of what we're getting on. Because I really want to point out where the masses, the so-called pro-Baldonis, where they strayed from where there was literal fact in front of them, where they were accepting of the limited information that they were getting as
Yeah.
gospel to something.
I know.
The great example of that was, the Forbes interview, because in that interview she so clearly
It's
states,
such a great example of this. It was so clearly manipulated, and people just took it as if they weren't being tricked. It was so clearly like a very, very precise extraction of one sentence from a bigger answer.
like literally out of context. You take the two sentences approximately before and maybe a couple sentences after, and
it makes it the opposite.
It makes it not only the opposite, but it shows that this woman was conscientiously aware of the fact that she was disadvantaged by going in under the guise of just being an actor, and despite having these aspirations for more, more responsibility behind the camera. Fucking amazing, if you ask me. And again, I point out to that and to her, with regards to her situation, that if that was a guy, it would never have even been brought into question. If a guy shows up on a set as an actor,
oh, I know.
and then he wants to assert himself as a producer, everybody's just going to get the fuck out of the way while it happens. If he's got the same kind of popularity,
Right.
what do they call it?
Let's see what you got, kid.
Well, they're not even going to go with kid because Blake Lively's the star. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, she's a fucking star. It's not like we're talking about like somebody like me rolling up as like an extra going, hey, I also produce. You know what I mean? Like, we're talking about a fucking movie star here. Bona fide. Yeah, Stefan, we're going to do a recap from the whole beginning. And the reason I want to do it is Stefan's just commenting on that I want to do this recap because...
A recap of what?
Of the Blake Lively case.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it top to bottom to, where we are currently.
Hey, do you have a pen?
And I don't. But
Okay.
I'm sure the guy from Kids in the Hall does.
Where's my pen? My pen. Has anybody seen my pen? When we do an edit of this...
I'll stick it in.
Oh my God, I love that show so much.
By the way,
thinking about it makes me holler.
Thank you for the likes on both platforms. If you haven't liked or subscribed, please do that on YouTube. And of course, we always appreciate the likes on TikTok as well.
I have to make
So
this
thank you
note.
very much for all of that. And I did see that we got a follow from somebody, and I missed the shout out because Angela was in the middle of her very important dialogue. So I don't know if you're still here with us now, but if you are, thank you so much for joining. And thank you so much for following. 'Tis nice of you.
Okay.
We almost had 10 consecutive viewers on TikTok at one time. And I got to tell you,
It felt good.
I was getting I got a little rush. Got a little rush. I've done stand-up comedy for 10 people. I've done stand-up comedy for 4 people. And it didn't go well.
I'm sure they loved you. Okay,
Nope.
so are we moving on?
Well, yeah, we can. Yep. Are we going to the trial?
Yes.
The Karen Read trial. So wait, well, we should definitely check our comments first. Please. Do a little.
Okay. I told everybody that I thought that Cosmic Urgency was Scott Bloom incognito,
I
and
know.
now Leo Edits thinks that Cosmic Urgency is Scott Bloom.
Scott, listen, I'm not convinced Cosmic Urgency isn't
Scott Bloom, if you're with us, blink twice.
I'm not convinced Cosmic Urgency isn't somebody. I asked if it was a guy, and I knew it was because that was what my instinct was telling me. But I have called women dudes on TikTok. I know I have.
Everybody's a dude.
Because everybody's a dude in
bro.
my stupid brain.
Like our dog. She's a bro.
But he had a cadence.
She's a dude.
His questions. Anyway, he's a dude. He says, I am a man.
I am a man.
I'm a man, baby.
Isn't that from
And then he says,
The Elephant Man?
Is it?
I am a man.
I'm not an animal. I am a human being.
Okay, you're right. I screwed up.
And then is Amber Benson Team Dale?
Don't cut that in.
Contingency Urgency is asking if
Cosmic Urgency?
Cosmic Urgency is asking if Amber Benson is Team Dale. I don't know, but I'm going to go with yes. I'm going to go if she reads the book, she is. Because I give her due. For real. I got to tell you, Angela, my grade looks pretty good. Did you notice it? On you? On your camera?
No. I have this still shot. I'm going to screenshot it because I look so bad. Like talking and making a face.
Oh.
Okay, let's move on. What do you think?
Yep.
Did we get everybody?
Karen Retrial. Well, did you there's no more comments you wanted to
Well,
find?
I think a lot of people are reflecting what you were saying, that if the criticism against Blake Lively showing ambition after she gets hired happened to a dude, then it wouldn't be an issue.
Bombastic. What's up, Bombastic? We haven't seen Bombastic in a while. Back on TikTok. Bombastic is saying something about reports that Taylor Swift's dad was the confidential source for Friedman.
Oh, come on.
There's no way that's real.
They're just making that shit up.
That's just more bullshit.
So stupid.
There's no way that's real.
Here's the thing. Brian Friedman would love nothing more than for Taylor fucking Swift to speak publicly about him and his lawsuit. He wants that publicity so bad. So all he's doing, instead of providing documentation to satisfy the demands of discovery in the freaking lawsuit,
yeah,
Blake Lively's provided like thousands of pages of documents to participate in discovery, and he's provided none.
None.
So all he's doing, he's spending his entire time trying to goad Taylor Swift into speaking up.
Yeah, as you said that just before you said that, Delicate was like, tag Taylor when you put the clips in recap, and get more views.
Yeah,
and I 100% will.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm jumping on the Taylor train. Taylor train. Well, guess what? I love Taylor Swift. Like I think about her lyrics all day long. I was thinking about doing I got that segment that I'm starting, which is No Notes. Mm-hmm. And there's some of her lyrics I want to like figure out a way to incorporate them into a No Notes moment. Because what?
Stefan's tagging Cosmic Urgency and is saying, "Loved you and Don's Plum, my guy." I'm so sorry if I've started a mess. Guilty Angel says, "Cosmic Urgency, can you confirm or deny?"
Dude, he's not gonna fucking give it up. Even if he isn't Scott Bloom, he's gonna fucking be like, he's just gonna be like riding incognito. I have a suspicion that Cosmic Urgency. First of all, that is a very Scott Bloom thing to say.
I know, that's part of why I thought.
Like that's something he could just, I could see him sitting around rolling fucking like vape out of his mouth where he's like, Cosmic Urgency. It's a matter of cosmic urgency. Is it a matter of cosmic urgency? Cosmic urgency? It really is, though. Bombastic 3.0. She has provided no evidence.
Oh, well, the court apparently says otherwise. So I'm sure. I don't know if you're following the court side of this. I love
it when Bombastic shows up. So Bombastic says that Candace Owens is the one who's putting that with an inside source.
Okay. All right.
That is the most unreliable shit ever, dude. If you're relying on Candace Owens for your information, you are walking around with a bag full of bullshit.
Do you want to...
That woman does not speak the truth, bro.
Would you like to move on to this?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Let's do it. We're going to move on to the Karen Read trial, which was a big fucking day. For both sides, you said, Angela.
Yes. There were two witnesses today, and you couldn't tell whose side they benefited more.
Wow.
Which is kind of an exciting trial day. The very first thing that happened was the jury got in trouble. Somehow. We don't know what happened.
Oh, yeah. They shut down.
They started the day, and they were like, okay, before we begin, we have to talk to each one of the jury individually at the judge's bench. They had a sidebar.
They had a sidebar
with each.
Can you hang on
one
second? I just want to say one more thing to Bombastic, just to get to Bombastic. I have some closure, dude. We're gonna do a full recap with all of our commentary on the whole case. It's gonna be awesome.
On the Blake Lively.
It's gonna be. We're gonna do the whole Lively, and you can show up and you can rip my spine from my supple little body.
What?
Dude, you know what I mean? Fillet me, but do it when we're gonna do the whole, and you'll be able to get all mad about it. And I'm gonna even get into the Candace Owens shit because I fucking hate that chick. All right, let's go.
Okay.
She's so useless, man. Do better. All right, go ahead.
Did you get it out of your system?
Yeah, I get angry with that. That woman gets me angry.
I know, but don't get angry because
it's good to get angry. You know, it's my only form of exercise.
It's pointless.
Actually. It's my only form of exercise. I literally can feel my temperature go up, my heart rate. It's perfect.
Okay, but I'm trying to segue to this other thing.
Let's go.
You through?
Yes.
Because I'm trying to talk to people about what happened today in court.
I'm through.
The jury after this whole thing where the cameras and audio weren't allowed to see what was going on with the jury, but each one of them got talked to, and we assumed that maybe what happened was that they were like, listen, I told you not to talk to each other, and you're not supposed to talk to each other, okay? Okay. And the next one, listen.
It was such a weird moment though. I've never experienced something like that, like just watching anything where it's like they're like she rolls up and she's like, okay, so before we begin today, I have to speak with every single juror individually,
separately, yeah,
and without cameras or audio, and in the presence of counsel. And we have to speak to every single one of you. So this is going to take some time, she said.
It didn't take that long.
It didn't. Yeah, I was expecting hours by the way she was speaking.
What happened was when they came back, there's people who've been watching from inside the courtroom, and they said that jurors had changed seats. So they're thinking it was like
somebody's banging somebody.
It was like, it just reminded everybody of being in the classroom where like you get in trouble for talking to your friends, so they move you to the front of the class.
It's like an episode of like of White Lilac, basically. Or no, White Lily.
Lotus.
White Lotus.
I love that about you, that you pick every flower except for the one.
Except for the actual right flower.
White lupine.
White lupine. It's like an episode of White Lupine, like they're they're not supposed to have, they're not supposed to have, like, it's forbidden with, and then they go for it.
Yeah.
They're having the sex, and they shouldn't be having the sex.
They're probably just talking about like, do you believe this, lady? Like, or something,
It's like they probably they were on lunch break and somebody put their hand on their thigh and they were like,
you want to make it sexy. I just want to make it like classroom gossip, like, oh, Leslie's shouting
I'm only doing
again.
that because jurors had to change seats.
They had to change seats. They had
Nothing
to
to pass notes. Did you see that?
Okay, but that's not all that happened. That was just in the beginning.
Yeah.
So that was weird.
Yeah.
And a lot of people who follow court, trials and stuff more than I do are like, this never happens. Apparently, there's a lot of this never happens with this case.
This never happens.
This never happens. Like, so many sidebars, so many delays.
Cops killing cops, covering it up with
that's unique about this too.
Trying to frame the cop's drunk girlfriend.
Yeah.
Who stupidly said what everybody would say in that situation. Who wouldn't in that situation say, "Did I do this?" Who wouldn't?
She does not deny. They're spending like days and days on this timeline of when her car arrived, when it backed up and she did a 3-point turn, when she went back home.
Yes.
They're spending days on it. And all of the things that are going on in her cell phone and like how it's like, connecting to Wi-Fi here and there. She does not deny that she was there at that time.
Right.
She doesn't deny that she did a 3-point turn and she backed out and she drove home.
Her own testimony.
She doesn't deny any of that. I don't know why they're trying to like line up a timeline that she's literally not denying. It's like they're just like trying to.
The other thing that they say that's just so fucking unbelievable is that they say that because of second degree murder, they're saying that she hit him, and that like their attitude is, and the reason it's second degree is that she hit him, and their idea of where the second degree murder took place, if I'm understanding things correctly, is that she left him there to die, knowing that he.
Yes, I know, but here's the thing: is that what they're
where
getting.
I was going though, okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, it's just like so. Then you go to her phone calls to him, her voice messages. There's no fucking way Karen Read can act that well. There's no way she can be that fucking convincing.
She's like, why would you leave me? Where are you? You're not answer my phone. Like,
she's not gonna have the same kind of like, she's not gonna be able to pull that off so well under the scrutiny of a prosecutor. You know what I mean?
After 9 drinks.
After 9 drinks, that's a great point. She's fucking totally inebriated, and now she's going to put this whole scheme together after, taking advantage of a moment where she could kill this guy. Like, it's just the fucking stupidest thing I ever heard, and the evidence itself on every level, not even just his injuries. And his injuries are just absolutely ridiculous. But when you take the injuries out of, if you take that out of the conversation, you just look at Karen Read, the person. It doesn't fucking add up.
Okay, but there's also... They're getting all of this timeline information because her car has sensors all over it and it's got this black box. And I just don't know why. I'm not sure why.
It's so spooky that we're tracked in everything we do now.
No, I know, but
it's going to be in our pants.
Listen.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why we're not hearing the defense asking why the black box and all of these special sensors in her car didn't pick up a collision.
Right.
If she had backed up into something,
exactly.
The car would have recorded it, right?
You would think. I don't know. I don't know how you would
If
think.
the car senses that it like got bunked, I
Well,
don't know.
I know that that a
There's no-
manufacturer would enjoy having that data.
Yeah, there's no
So-
collision recorded. Okay. Anyway, what I meant to say was that after the jury stuff, we saw a bunch of photos of the forensic evidence. Okay.
Yes.
So the first thing that they went over was it was like, here are all the shards of tail light that were found at the scene, and then others were collected later.
Was this the little nerdy chick who put the glass together?
Yes.
Okay. So on this live we don't describe them by name. We describe them by our subjective.
I know she deserves more
Appearance.
respect than that, but I don't know.
She was a cool gal, and obviously a forensic scientist.
Yeah, she was just the person who was supposed to be showing this evidence to the jury.
Right.
And so the jury saw pictures of all of the tail light and all the pieces that were retrieved at the scene at various times. They also saw this cocktail glass that apparently John had brought into the car and then left from the car with, allegedly. Other people have conspiracy theories about whether Karen Read had thrown the glass, or whether John had thrown the glass, or whether he was holding
Right.
it, or whatever. Nobody knows.
The glass, by the way, just for those who don't know, it was common for these guys to leave the bar because it was their regular place, which cops have that. They have their like watering hole.
Yeah, they stole the glass from the bar.
They stole the glass from the bar. But there's like this.
Cops
It's really funny to drink and drive, to go drinking and driving, to go
right.
drinking and driving.
with an open container.
So it was common for him to do that. So he literally walked out of the bar,
Dirtbags.
and there's camera of him walking out of the bar with this glass.
You would lose your license for that, but they get to do it all.
That open liquor. There's all kinds of problems
Yep.
with that.
So anyway, so there's all these evidence of the pieces that they picked up at the scene.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Also, it was she had done photos and analyzed. Her job was to compare what is the material of this object.
Yep.
How does it match with the material of these other objects?
Correct.
So she got to tell whether a shard of glass was from the same cocktail glass as the base, right?
Yeah.
She could say whether a piece of red plastic was from the tail light based on the other
Right.
ones that
Yes.
were there,
Yep.
That was her job. So she also analyzed some scrapings that were taken off of his clothes, where they did find pieces of tail light, like tiny little shards under the microscope on his clothes. Okay. And I was like, oh, that's really bad. Because if he has tail light on his clothes and not just scattered about the scene,
It's a big deal.
that means that there must have been some contact. And then somebody online pointed out, yeah, part of the problem with this investigation is that they threw all of that collected material in the same bag. So they literally took shards of the red tail light and his clothes, and it was all jostling around in the same bag during transport. That's how bad these fucking cops
Oh my
are.
God.
I know it. I know.
Well, look, that's shake and bake, bro. That's if you're trying to set
Absolutely.
somebody up, that's shake and bake.
Yep. So another thing that the jury saw. Do you want to pull up that picture? Did you set it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure did.
This was really informative. I think the jury's going to be looking over this when they deliberate. Tell me when you have it up. So what she did was they made a little grid to organize the information of what pieces of glass were found where, and whether it matched pieces of glass we think did do it,
Right.
who were in the house,
Oh,
the last place
shit.
that John O'Keefe was found.
I didn't. I'm sorry, guys.
You didn't have it up the whole time?
No, I did. I just forgot to put the sound in. I'm so sorry, guys.
People didn't have sound?
Nope, you have to explain everything again. I'm so sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Just growing pains, guys. I'm learning. I really am. I'm so sorry. Let me see. Audio. My goodness. That's embarrassing.
So what
Okay.
happened? So the sound
Yeah, there was no sound.
you turn it off and then on again?
So here we are. Once again, guys, I'm so sorry. So back from the top. I'm so sorry I did that to you guys. Thank you for hanging in there. All right.
I'm not gonna say it all again. I don't know where it stopped.
These are four columns, and each of these columns represents. I think you guys probably read this while you were waiting to hear us again. So this is cup, bumper glass. 9 pieces recovered by a detective called Buchanan, and then another by Proctor. And Proctor he's a really questionable, fucking shady dude. He had really disparaging things to say about Karen Read. He really, you guys can't hear this?
Delegate said we lost you at Shake and Bake.
We lost you at Shake and Bake. Can you guys still hear me? Can you hear me now? Ugh, I hate that they stole that from us.
You know what's really great though is that you can go.
Oh, hang on a second.
Later on, you could take the audio from the
guys
TikTok file,
right?
and then put it on this one.
I think you're right. No, I can't because it's bad audio on TikTok.
Why not?
Anyway,
Who cares?
let's talk about this later. So this evidence.
We don't have to go over it like we did, but we could just say that the Proctor, the evidence that was found on Karen Read's car when it was taken to the police station for analysis.
Yeah.
For collection, all of that evidence that was found on Karen Read's car does not match any of the pieces of glass that it's supposed to match from the scene. So nobody knows where that came from.
Right.
But this witness believes that it doesn't. That it's not a fit. That's not cocktail glass pieces. They don't know what it is.
And that's like, come on, what the fuck now? Like, what are we talking about?
Where'd it come from?
Also, like one of the cool things that happened was they had this really this really awesome doctor who basically, I guess, spoke to whether John O'Keefe could be conscious, right? Is that right?
Yes. Well, I was going to go on and talk about that guy. Yeah.
By the way, sound's back up over there, guys. I'm sorry about that. Do you want me to switch back to the 2-shot now? Do you need that poster up anymore?
I don't know. Thanks.
We're back. Sorry, guys. I'm sorry about that. Fucking.
That's okay. You're just learning this stuff.
I got to remember that I have to. Every time I build a new thing, I have to always put the audio in it. It's like it's just some growing pains.
Okay, Dr. Isaac Wolf.
Yes, Dr. Isaac
is
Wolf.
a neurosurgeon.
Is that who I'm talking about? The white-haired dude?
Yes.
He's fucking awesome.
He's awesome. He's probably the best witness they could have found when they wanted to find a brain specialist.
Right.
The defense,
He's quite fantastic,
in their
yeah.
cross-examination, clarified that he does not work on dead people. So he does not understand as much as a medical examiner would understand what these injuries would look like on someone who's deceased.
Right. He's neither forensic
And people who know about anatomy and about, what happens to us to our bodies after we die, the brain is one of those that changes a lot.
Yeah.
So apparently, like, the whole consistency of our brain changes when we die. It's weird. I don't understand.
How could you? How could you?
So anyway, so they were trying to impeach the witness by just saying, like, okay, well, you do surgery on living people, and so I'm not sure that you're such a credible witness. But regardless, he had a lot to say about the injury that that John O'Keefe sustained that caused his death. Okay?
Yes.
He said that yes, his injury could have happened from falling down onto a hard surface.
And hitting a hard surface, yes.
Yeah, like, so you get, like, struck in the front and you fall back and you hit your head. The reason why this brain surgeon doesn't believe that it happened due to a weapon was because the skull was fractured, but the fracture wasn't pushed in. To me, that's not very compelling. He could have been struck and had his skull fractured and have it not be struck hard enough to push it in. But he said that it was more consistent with having a fall.
Well, that's why I believe that, because so anyway, and then he talked about raccoon eyes.
Yes. Whether the fall happened outside on the lawn or whether the fall happened inside the house, we don't know. He can't say, right? But he said it is consistent with a fall backward. Okay.
And his head striking a hard surface.
Yes.
Obviously.
The reason why. Then he said the reason why he's seen this really severe swelling around the eyes that John O'Keefe had when he went to the hospital.
Yeah.
He said that the reason that happens is because when you fall back, it's like a whiplash in your brain where your brain gets jostled forward because your brain's kind of like floating around in this big soup.
Yeah, it's how concussions happen. Right?
Yeah, exactly. So you get struck from behind, but then the force of the blow shocks your brain and it makes it sort of hit the front. And so all of the fluid just gets like welled up behind your eye.
What are you fucking doing?
Yeah.
Says the brain.
So he said the bruising and the swelling in his eyes, that is also consistent with a fall backward. He said that makes sense in this patient. But then in cross-examination, he was asked whether the cut on John O'Keefe's under his eye, on his eyelid, like below his eyebrow.
It was such perfect questions.
Whether that was due to a fall backward, and he said, and the neurosurgeon said no.
Well, what's important also, and where I was going was the raccoon eyes.
That's what I
because
mean.
So yeah, okay, right. So he explained the raccoon eyes as being something from this blow. Did I miss that?
He said that, yeah, the big swollen eyes, swollen dark eyes, yeah.
And then he said, well, okay, so it's like, the prosecutor left it so that the jury could easily have. This is why fucking you gotta have good lawyers, because a jury would be like, oh, okay, and then that's explained, but it doesn't explain the abrasions.
No, the neurosurgeon is like, there's no reason why a fall back would cause a cut above his eye.
No.
Or on the side of his nose. Karen Reed said that she picked glass out from the cut on the side of his nose.
Yeah.
So you might think that that's what caused the cut on the top of his eye. We think that maybe he was struck in the face that caused a cut in the front of his eye. Who knows?
I still maintain that I believe that this is between Higgins and this is between John O'Keefe. I think either one of those Higgins invited him to the party. I don't think that Higgins' intention was to murder him, but I do think his intention was to punch him in the face, to fight him. I think that yes, because there's something going on here with Higgins and with John O'Keefe, in my opinion, because.
You can't say that there isn't because they weren't ever investigated.
Well,
this is the problem with this. It's like you have to rule out all of the other possible causes of this guy's demise so that you can pin it on the one person who you think did do it.
Yeah, but you can't. One of the reasons you can't rule out Higgins isn't just because you don't know whether or not he walked into the house or not, but there's a motive for Higgins to have a controversial or a confrontational relationship.
Right.
With John O'Keefe, because he was fucking cheating with John O'Keefe's girlfriend.
Right.
And I believe that there's something there. And,
let me keep telling you about this neurosurgeon.
It's hard to figure out what it is, because there's like, why wouldn't then, John O'Keefe have known and said something to Karen Reed.
Did he ever explain that he invited John O'Keefe over, and did Higgins ever explain why he invited him over and never saw him?
Did he call him? Did he text him? Did he do anything?
Yeah, I guess he did, because he was a witness.
But he didn't call or text, because there's no conversations about a call or text from Higgins after he showed up at that residence. Let me
continue with this because the guy said a lot.
Please do.
Okay, so this neurosurgeon,
yeah,
he had a lot to say. He also clarified that after this sort of injury where you fall back and you hit your head and you have a wound in the back of your head and your skull is cracked and your brain has been jostled and you're really messed up.
Yeah.
You can still be conscious and you can be moving around, but the way he described it was a lot like how we've seen in the MMA fights, where when somebody's like they're knocked out but they're still moving around.
Yeah.
The first thing to fail when you have a brain injury, when you get a concussion or something, you've seen this on the sports field too.
Yeah.
Is that your fine motor movements don't work anymore. So you see people try and walk, but their legs are goofy.
Sure.
Or like you'll see people try and swing a punch and they're like, they can't aim.
Super drunk.
Super drunk. It's like a wet fish.
Punch drunk.
Yes. Punch drunk. Exactly.
Yeah.
So this completely undoes any of the idea that after John O'Keefe was struck, that he could have continued to use his phone.
Right.
And the records do show that he had activity on his phone. Like, he unlocked his phone, and then I think he sent a text message or tried to make a call or something.
There was actually, I know that there's one situation where there were an action required unlocking the phone.
Right, and this is in the timeline after they suppose that he was struck. So they think he was struck and that he tried to, like, get help somehow with his phone, and then he succumbed to his injuries, is what the prosecution is saying.
Right.
But this neurosurgeon, he's a witness for the prosecution, completely obliterated that idea. He said that he might have been moving around. There's a lot of brain injuries where you'll see them do, like, those weird postures. He explained that there's an evolutionary purpose for that, and that's to defend yourself from whatever animal is attacking you, when you're a caveman.
Yeah.
He said that you can do that kind of movement, and you can be, like, trying to get up and right yourself, but you're never going to be operating a phone, and you're probably not going to be able to vocalize clearly enough to call for help or even use the volume in your voice or anything.
And bringing up the MMA is a really good example, because on the in an MMA situation, we wouldn't definitely like you would what they're talking about. You can recognize what they mean by not having those kinds of motor skills, because it looks like not just drunk, it looks like severely inebriated, right? Like those college days where you don't fucking remember a damn thing.
This still makes it a little bit curious why John O'Keefe had vomit all down his front and on his boxer shorts. So they think that he must have been upright somehow. So I don't know whether that means he sat up and threw up, or whether he, like, was propped up and threw up. I don't know. Nobody can answer that. This didn't clarify that. Okay.
It's so weird that whole bit is just hard to piece together, because there's no. At least I haven't heard any.
That part
evidence.
was really confusing, because people were saying that he fell back, got knocked out, and remained laying there unconscious. And so that. And
now there's vomit.
But now the neurosurgeon is saying it's possible that he could have been, like, wriggling around. But whether he, like, woke up, whether he got to his feet and managed to stagger 15 feet, like, so the crime scene is it's really weird. Apparently where they think he was struck is very far from where he was found. And so they're not really sure whether he'd be able to do that. And the neurosurgeon.
It's weird because there's that interview where Karen says that she, where she says that she thought she might have done it because when she got to the scene and saw where his body was, it was relatively in the same spot that she'd seen him last, or where she dropped him off. Not so where she said we seen him last. She said where I dropped him off.
Yeah, which is
contradictory to her. You can
see why she's so confused, because she says, she's like, I saw him go up to the door,
stick his head
and then
in.
I see his body far away from at the curb. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a strange situation for sure.
That was another thing that he sort of cleared up, was that he could have kept moving around, but he wasn't going to be able to operate his phone. So that's a big hole in the case.
That's a hole in the prosecution's case.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not a hole in the defense's theory that something else went on here.
Let's see what else. It's so weird how they're, like, bending over backwards to explain these, like, triggering events in the timeline of her car, and she's like, "Yeah, I told you guys. I told you guys I was there."
That's just crazy.
I guess that's it. It was just a lot of really helpful explanation about what somebody continues to be able to do. Like, I don't know if he would have been able to get to his feet with that kind of injury, or whether he would have just tried and failed.
Did the plastic lady, did she say that the red plastic definitely belonged to the taillight?
Yes.
She tied that together?
Yeah, you can see in the images. Let me just show you. There's this. Oh, it's a video.
Look, here's the situation with this case, man. You can't convict this woman of fucking second-degree murder on this nonsense. You can't do that. Am I right or am I right?
There's too many other ways this could have happened to this guy.
There's too many ways. You can't. There's no way you can pin a murder on this woman.
These are like red shards. This is like
push it up.
Microscopic red shards in all the fibers of his. So they
less than 1/16 of an inch.
They tested it by scraping so they just took all the scrapes off of his shirt and then looked at it, and you can see there's like dirt and sand, and then these red pieces of plastic.
Here's what I fucking find out.
But you're right. The shake and bake, it's such a great way to explain it, because when you have a bunch of evidence in the same bag, it's all just going to cross transfer. It's going to contaminate each other. So
it's pretty fucked
all
up.
that proves is that his shirt touched plastic, not that he was struck while wearing the shirt. You know what I mean? Because the shirt was stripped off of him by the paramedics at the hospital, and then it was thrown in with all this other stuff. That was one of the big reasons why it was so incriminating for the police for the lead investigator, the Sergeant Buchanan. I don't know how to say his name. But when he was saying that there wasn't a chain of custody.
That's it, Buchanan.
There wasn't a chain of custody for any of the evidence.
And you want to put somebody in jail for the rest of their life?
He was like, what? It goes into the police station? It's in the police station. What do you need to know about?
They don't have a medical examiner that can corroborate their story.
No.
Their evidence doesn't fully corroborate their story. They're going off of super shady digital forensics, in my opinion. You know, like this fucking guy. This guy, the guy with the fucking twirly twat right on his fucking forehead there. I know that's body shaming, and I you know.
That's the guy that lied about his resume to be an expert witness for the prosecution.
He lied about his education, and he also showed I thought a pattern of just being sloppy, like messy. Mm-hmm. And so they
counted 9 times that he said, "Oh, that was a mistake. I made an error." You know, like you can't have an expert witness telling your jury that.
Right. By the way, for those of you on TikTok, hi, my name is Dale Wheatley, and behind the camera is Angela, and you can see her on YouTube. You just click the link in my profile there. We just launched on YouTube. This is episode 8, even though it says episode 2. I don't know that it's episodes per se, but you know, whatever. Sure. It's our 8th live. Come over and check it out. And if you're there over on the YouTube, please give us likes and all the things that help us there. And the same here on fucking, what do you call it? TikTok.
Lily on TikTok said,
appreciate all of you guys so much.
It's weird the neurosurgeon said hit head on the ground, also concrete floor, also basement stairs. Like, it's true.
Well, the concrete floor is, I'm convinced that it's a concrete floor.
Yeah. Or
like,
it could have, you know.
That's what I was saying about Higgins is like,
even.
you have that glass in the face, like that, like, first of all, if he's holding the glass and somebody throws a punch at him, is it possible he tries to block the punch with the glass?
Is he right-handed? Because if he was holding the glass when the dog lunged up at him, the glass would go like...
Well, I'm saying
would it break
he's got
him?
glass in his face, right? So if somebody punched that glass and that glass hits his face and it hits I mean...
who knows, man? Who knows what happened? Dr. Susan on TikTok said...
enough to knock you out. Not
only concrete floor, the basement had exercise equipment and barbells. I saw somebody... This is interesting. I saw somebody talk about how they thought that the wound in the back of his head looked exactly like it could have been from a exercise bench with the horizontal bars.
Are you getting this from Dr. Susan?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dr. Susan, did you repeat the line? I think we're both reading. So I was reading Erica's comment, which I'll get to.
Erica said, "I honestly believe she could have been responsible. I'm sorry, but I just don't think there's enough there to convict." I don't think so either. Not only enough to convict that she's responsible at all, but they're trying to charge her with second-degree murder, which means she intended to, and I haven't seen anybody providing any evidence whatsoever about her intent.
With malice.
I don't know what they're even charging her for that, as opposed to like negligent homicide, like you accidentally hit somebody with your car. I don't know what they're doing.
Which would be vehicular manslaughter, you know, because of her, which they have. That was the charge that they hung on the last trial. Yeah,
Erica said murder is an insane overreach. They're not even trying to prove it either. I haven't heard anything like that.
I have a hard time believing, like, there are times when I think about, like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, it's possible, like, she could have hit this guy, but the fucking injuries don't add up. I don't see how the injuries add up, because the injuries to the front of his face don't make sense, and the injuries to the arm just don't make sense. If those made sense, obviously they would have a much easier time. They would have gotten a conviction on the manslaughter. The problem that all of this has, I mean, there's several. First of all, Proctor didn't like her. She was dating a cop and cheating with another. She was dating one cop and cheating with another, and that's fucking bad business. Bad business. So she's obviously kind of probably gaining a reputation, I would think. Wouldn't you?
Yeah,
Amongst the cops?
Yeah. I mean, if he feels that he can speak so freely about his poor judgment of her, then yeah, I think that definitely means that they all felt the same way.
So, I'm just saying, like, I don't know how you can, like, even convict her on the idea, because it's like the idea, right? Like, the idea makes sense. Oh yeah, she got fucking plastered. She knocks him off, and he hits his head. But like, even if he hits his head so hard that he staggers around for a bit, where's the evidence of that? Like, I guess there's you got some evidence on his jeans, right? There's the stains on his jeans, and there's like grass stains, that is. And, so there is some evidence, but it's just not enough to create a consistent story that, like, says, yeah, put this woman away for the rest of her fucking life.
They're never going to get a conviction. Ever. That's not going to happen.
You can't. And that's another, like, I guess you could call it a theory, but that's another sort of feeling I have, or just like a possibility, I guess, and that is that that the DA themselves are even trying to get out of this. Look, if a cop killed a cop, right, in this drunken way, whatever, that's bad for everybody, Boston.
Yep.
Like, all politics of Boston, that's bad. That's bad for every fucking buddy. There's just, and they already have a scandal.
Canton. Is that Boston?
Well,
is it a suburb?
It's Boston. He's Boston PD.
It's Canton PD.
I know, but it's Canton's a suburb.
Geography.
It's a suburb, and actually, John O'Keefe is a member of the Boston PD.
Okay.
So
sorry.
No, you're good.
Today in the Diddy trial, they just showed photos taken at his residence or residences of a bunch of evidence.
Yeah.
But it was what we've already heard before. So many bottles of baby oil and Astroglide, and then the jury saw
Astroglide.
Yeah.
There's something called Astroglide?
Yeah, it's lube.
It's lube called Astroglide? Wow.
I don't know if you know this about me, but I used to manage a erotic boutique.
I did, yeah. That's why I'm asking.
It's actually it's really weird because these guys are so rich, like P. Diddy and his whole entourage. They have so much money, and Astroglide is like the cheapest.
Hey, dude, if it works, it works, bro.
It doesn't really, though.
Do you know?
It's not a 5-star product.
Stars eat it in and out. You know what I'm saying?
Huh?
Stars eat it in and out.
That's true. Yeah. So there was. Oh, and the jury also saw photos of injuries on Cassie. She'd taken pictures of her bruises, and she had a cut in her eyebrow. That maybe could have had a stitch. Anyway, that's what happened in that. And then in Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds news. You with me?
Yes. I was just checking comments, but yes, in Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, so everybody's been like, foaming at the mouth to try and figure out what's going on with Blake Lively's friendships, right?
Yeah.
and it's just really understandable that everybody would be like really quiet about it and just be, obviously supporting them behind the scenes, but not making public pronouncements, because they have this guy, Brian Friedman, who's trying to make publicity out of everything and trying to twist everything. And then he's got this whole community of attack dogs online that are like doxing people and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense that she would have a big support system of people supporting her in private. But today, in Variety, they did a feature on Rob McElhenney and Caitlin Olsen, who we know from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Of course.
And they're a couple, and it's about how they are juggling.
Ryan Reynolds' good buddy, right?
Yeah, very good buddy.
And business partner.
Uh-huh. And the article is about how they are juggling 4 hit TV shows, a winning soccer team, and Ryan Reynolds. And so they spoke about their friendship, and they spoke about this case. And so finally, Brian Friedman gets
very good food.
Brian Friedman finally got the publicity that he's asking for. Do you want to hear it?
Okay.
In this Variety article, and in co-owning Wrexham, which is his football team.
Yes.
He's grown quite close to Reynolds. Rob grabs his phone to show how often the two exchange joke videos throughout the day. It's a lot. In between discussing how to grow their football empire. Their bond means that McElhenney and Olsen have made a point of lending their support to Reynolds and his wife Blake Lively during their public legal battle with It Ends With Us director Justin Baldoni. Justin Baldoni got written about in Variety today. He said, "It's just our way of staying connected and navigating something together," McElhenney said. "And also me giving and showing as much support as I possibly can with all the other stuff that he's got going on that I know is so difficult and challenging. We both are just trying to offer our support in any way that we can that doesn't just simply add oxygen to the fire." It's very smart.
O2 to the fire.
And so there you have it. Now finally their friends have spoken up.
Well, that's good. We'll see. We'll see how long it lasts. By the way, I just wanted to let me see. So they didn't like her. Yes. So Delicate said that they didn't like her, and so that's really easy to frame her. I think it's also that they
Who?
We're back
Blake
on Kelly.
Lively?
Yeah, Reed.
Oh,
So
Karen Reed.
on Karen Reed, I think like one of the reasons, just to go back, we're jumping all over. Two things I want to jump over, because also Guilty Angel brought up how bad she feels for Cassie, and I'm gonna be just totally ADD about all this. Fucking Cassie, bro. I'm looking at these pictures, man. Like I'm looking at her all her red carpet stuff with Diddy, and and
She looks like a captive.
She does.
She looks like a captive.
Exactly right. Like look in those eyes. When you look in the eyes, like,
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. We're both excited.
Anytime somebody comes up and talks to her, you can see Diddy like move his hand, like he like puts his hand on her neck, on her waist, on it. It's like he claims her.
Oh,
like
man.
This one's mine.
It's fucking wild.
It's fucked up, man.
And it's also like, it's like the whole like don't scream, right?
Yes, exactly.
Don't scream.
Don't make eyes at this person.
It feels like
Don't
that.
blink twice.
So I feel so bad for Cassie.
Horrible.
Although I did see this really cool and encouraging headline where she's apparently extremely happy. She's married with this new guy, right? Who looks like a fucking dork. Did you see him? Mm-hmm. He looks like a big dork. Which like that's so great. He's rubbing her feet and shit.
Yeah.
Let me get this for you. You know what I loved about that I told you I'm all over the place right now. The fucking that fucking doctor, that brain doctor,
The neurosurgeon today?
Yeah, in Cross, what's his, I guess it was Jackson. Who crossed him? Was it, what's his name?
Alessi.
Crossed him, and Alessi says, tell us tell us about your day. How do you start your day? That's how he started his testimony.
This was unexpectedly delightful. The neurosurgeon talked about was asked about like what's the process of your day, and this was Alessi was setting up so like to ask him like, oh, so you don't ever see any dead bodies.
Right, he was just setting him up like
But he was trying to build rapport for him to open up his cross because he doesn't want to just like come in with like a tough question. He's like let's get to know each other. How much like what's your golf score or whatever?
Yeah, exactly. So he says that he gets up and he gets to the hospital at 4:15 in the morning. He does a bunch of prep there, and then he goes back home at 6 a.m. when his wife gets up, and he makes her a cappuccino. And then he goes back to the hospital where he performs surgeries
and I
and
immediately
consultations.
like whiplash turn to Dale because Dale makes me coffee every day, and I just think it's so funny that this guy's
And I hand grind her coffee, and it's like this deal. It's not like
it's
I don't
really like
make a pot of
artisanal.
coffee. Yeah, it's artisanal coffee.
And I just thought it was so amazing that this guy that we saw in the witness stand, he was like this. He's like the most successful neurosurgeon. He's like a director of the hospital, right?
Yeah.
And he's still his wife's barista.
And he's like, the best part about it is how old he is. Because honestly, I've had little fantasies of being this old man, making your coffee for you and stirring
That's very
it,
romantic.
tasting your little.
Sweet.
Because I can't drink coffee anymore because my guts won't have it. So
I know, it's very sad.
It is, and so I make Angela.
So Dale doesn't even enjoy coffee, and he makes it for me.
Yeah, but I get to taste it. I get to taste it.
Yeah, you taste.
So I pictured him tasting it, because I do.
A cappuccino too. It's like, that's love,
It's
like
love.
Foam in the milk.
Yeah, cappuccino is work. It's not a fucking cup of coffee. It's a cup of love. Oh,
It's very sweet.
we're gonna open up our own coffee shop. A cup of love. We're going to be like one of those coffee shops where you can't order coffee. No, we call coffee love.
We could be really snotty about it.
2 shots of
Just
love.
be like, that's not a good order. You're going to get something better.
And-
On TikTok,
Yeah.
and Junka says, my husband makes me coffee every morning, even though he gets up 1 to 2 hours before me.
I do too.
You can tell him he's just like a neurosurgeon.
Dude, I didn't know that was like a dude thing. I'm your fucking barista.
It's sweet.
He's her barista. That doctor, he's like a surgeon and a barista.
Mm-hmm. It's very caring.
I-
What's amazing is that he didn't have to include that. It's not like he was being like he had to show proof. He just included that because he's proud of it.
Well, also because he's like, well, and then I go home because he's like, yeah, he's proud of it. I'm proud of it. Well, it's not that I'm proud of it.
He probably tells everybody at the
I
hospital.
love doing it.
Hey, you got everything. I got you all set up. I'll be right back. I got to go make my wife coffee.
Yeah, exactly. It's 100% what I would do. I've thought about that. Whenever I thought like, if I could, I would come back and make you. There's joy. It brings me joy to make you a cup of coffee.
Guilty Angel says, Dale, that's very sweet.
You know what brings me joy? Thank you so much. You know what brings me joy is like when I cook for you and you love it. So I'm estranged from my family. And I have fantasies of my family loving me. And one of my fantasies is that I cook for my niece and that she cries because it's so good and she's never had it before and she could have been having it all these years. It's a stupid self-aggrandizing moment, where I'm like, I'm such a good cook. And I'm not that great of a cook. I'm a good cook.
Is that you have this fantasy, but it's like every family member I've ever seen you cook for has that exact experience. They don't cry, but they're like, oh, Lord, this is so good.
Yeah, I'm a good cook.
Dale's a really good cook.
I'm a good cook, but like I'm not a chef or anything, but I'm a good home cook. Mm-hmm. And so, but that's one of my fantasies to make her cry with my cooking, I think there's like something about like my dad. My dad is like my dad was like a physically abusive guy. It's his birthday today, by the way. After we get off this live, I got to call him. He turns 84 today, my dad, 84 years old. But he was a physically abusive guy, mentally abusive guy. But this fucking guy will cook. To this day, if he's 84 years old this Christmas, if he's still living, if that heart's beating, he'll make about 2,500 shortbread cookies to distribute to people, just to give to people Christmas time. He's just like,
that's amazing.
He cooks every meal for my mom. Like it's just there's something. I think there's something about dudes where we want to. I guess maybe it's the hunter and the gatherer thing, where we're like, me making you a fucking cup of coffee is equivalent to me knocking an antelope on its head and bringing home the meat. I don't know.
Well, I think it's interesting that there's a lot of people who have families where like the grandfather opens a restaurant and then the dad works in the restaurant and then the kid works in the restaurant, and it's like that's exactly what you did, but you guys never legitimized it.
Right.
Like he cooks so much and he's known for being a cook, and then you are a really, really great cook. And maybe you're going to be known for it after you talk about it tonight.
Yeah.
But it just ran in your family,
It's my favorite part of my dad. Mm-hmm. It really is my favorite part of my dad.
It is really endearing.
He'll fucking, dude, we grew like this garden that was just so fucking ridiculously big. And my brother and I hate it. We're kids. We have to fucking weed this thing and do everything. But dude, every fall and throughout the summer, we're just unloading bags of potatoes, tomatoes, peas, carrots to neighbors. And it was awesome. Like in retrospect, at the time I was like, oh, fuck it. But now that I think about like how many people we fed.
That's great.
Like we fed our neighborhood with potatoes and corn and oh my God. And it was just all what he loved to do. And it's something I would love to do. Like if we end up getting our home, I definitely want to grow more than I can eat,
Yeah, that's a dream.
And
Stefan said that's such a lovely thing for him to do. People are so complicated, man.
Yeah. Oh, you don't feel bad about my dad. He is 84. He doesn't hit me no more. It's cool, whatever. We all have our...
Did you hear Stefan's?
Yes, thank you. That was very kind. Yeah, my dad's complicated. He's like one of those guys. Well, my dad was an orphan, just to get into it. It's his birthday. Why not? My dad was an orphan. He had a really rough life, so, and I don't think he had the wherewithal to understand how to fend off the invasion of that, the invasion of that bad life into his family. So yeah, it made it complicated, but we're okay. We're all good.
Dr. Susan said, I'm starting to think you need a business with food. Don's Plum was based in a restaurant.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because like my, the book that I am working on now, and is based in a diner.
Oh yeah, that's amazing.
I was actually going to do a trilogy, a trilogy of diners.
How Stephen
diner
King
movies.
always writes about dairy in Maine, you know?
Yeah.
Like you could always just have a restaurant.
I wanted to do a
component.
trilogy of diners. This next project takes place in a diner, and then I wanted to do one more in a diner. A diner trilogy. Like, who the fuck doesn't want that? Everybody. Nobody wants that. 0 people want a fucking diner trilogy. Except my diner trilogy.
That's the end.
All right, let me see. I got one more thing before we go. You guys all know how much I'm trying to understand the full scope of body shaming. I just talked about this guy's twirly hair on the center of his forehead. Body shaming. I'm trying to get better at it. I'm trying to understand all of the body shaming that I
And
did.
the Kelsey brothers body shaming you did? I'm going to tell
I
them.
just did the Kelsey brothers as
I'm going to tell them you said that.
I did, yeah. I did the Kelsey brothers, which was also
They're going to hear about it. They're not going to
unkind.
be happy. You're not going to get invited. You're not going to get a Christmas card this year, Dale.
I'm not gonna Chris card. It's true.
Do you think this will fly? Dale, my show notes. Do you think that'll fly?
It might. It might. Let me just I have to move this out of the way because I can't see my work for some reason. So anyway, one of the things we talked about is
It didn't fly.
Little Richard, and Little Richard is code for guys with small junk, right? And I feel really terrible for them, as you know, because they really get a bad shake, don't you think? It's not fair, right? These guys,
not fair. No.
These guys are just like they're
It's
born
not-
with it.
It's not fair to shame people for the way they're born.
They're born with it, and notice how the way I phrase that keeps me out of the company of them, and it's like such a bad thing for them. It really is. Well, anyway, I couldn't help with this. So I'm just going to share it with you because I have this whole thing about it. I'm really sensitive to it, and it really started when I was like at a racquetball club, and men's room, and this one guy he was just really small, like you couldn't even see it, and there was like laughter in the gym, and I saw him go red.
That is so messed up.
I saw him
in
go
the
red.
locker room.
Yeah, there was like snickers, laughter. It was really an amazing thing to see because it was like an egg in a nest.
Because what's he supposed to do? Like just not shower after racquetball?
So I became very sensitive to it immediately, right? Because I saw the change of his face color.
Of course.
It was horrible. God. And I've thought about it ever since. And I always and the reason I think about it is because, like, Greta, what's her last name? Thunberg?
Yeah.
How she said, she made a comment to Donald Trump about having a little dick energy at one point. And I was like, fuck, man. Like, there you are, this person, this leader of good, this, beacon of hope for, our the next generation coming up or the generations
you're talking
to follow.
about Greta, not him.
No, yeah. And then you're body shaming, like legit body shaming. Anyway, as a long intro to this, I found this like thing on Reddit that just blew up. Estimated distribution of erect penis lengths. And here's the chart that they put. This has tens of thousands, but here's the crazy thing. Like, first of all, there's two really interesting things to look at the chart. The first thing is that there are apparently men, this isn't a measured thing. I think this is people calling up and going, like, I think somebody's like calling up and going, hey, how big are you when you're at your peak? And the guy's like 2.5. Like somebody said 2.5 inches. Mind blowing.
Yeah, I don't know how they collect this data either.
It's just the absolute craziest. Like, it's the craziest thing.
Because it's a pretty easy thing for people to lie about. They're not going to like go door to door and check,
But I found the shame kind of built right into the chart. And this is why we kind of wanted to see this, like the shame that these men feel. Check this out. If you look at the chart, you'll see how quickly it rises. And I don't mean that as a pun. How quickly it rises to 5.5 inches. Like, see, compared to the slow decline toward the large, like, see how anxious people are to get to the larger sizes. It's just kind of funny. I mean, I know there's a dramatic fall off at 5.5. I just don't know where they got these Guilty Angel likes charts. Well, I hope you like this chart.
That's a really adorable thing to say. I like charts. I love that.
It's so funny. You're amazing. Anyway, so here are the actual numbers of the people that we're affecting. Here they are. And it's like it is the majority, by far the majority of people, the majority of men are falling into the Little Richard category. So that means that when you're making Little Richard jokes, when you're talking small dick jokes, you are hurting so many people.
The majority?
Yeah, the majority. You're hurting the majority of men.
The majority of people in the room
Yeah, you're shaming them.
are the target of your shaming.
When you make your little dick joke and you see all the fucking dudes laughing, they're laughing at themselves. They're dying inside.
Yeah,
They're fucking dying inside. Half of them.
fucked up.
Half of them are dying inside. Right there. There's your statistics. That's every time you make a little dick joke, that's how many people you're hurting. And I think it's a big fucking deal. I think it's like a bigger deal than people want to make out of it.
Yeah.
And when you talk about men being like having, their level, these obscene levels of psychosis and these anger issues and all this other stuff. Imagine carrying around this pain that you have to carry around with, where it's universally okay, where it's just everybody's okay with it.
And you have to keep it secret too.
And it's a
because
fucking secret.
You're going to be the subject of the ridicule if you admit to what's going on, like in your social group.
And we're not talking about like the shame you feel when you find somebody you're falling in love with and you want to go on a date and you guys are kissing and it's getting hot and heavy and you're like, I can't. Like, what the fuck is his problem? Why is this guy not? Because this guy's going home every day and he's living with a pain that he didn't create, a pain he inherited by DNA or by luck or by whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Anyway, there's the statistics, guys. So stop the Little Richard jokes, man. Let the Little Richard guys go. Let them live with, be kind to these people, bro. They don't deserve this. And I just see this and it breaks my heart. It really does. I see it and it breaks my heart because I think there's nobody helping them. Who is talking about this? I think I'm the only one talking about this.
It's the last frontier of body shaming.
I don't know. I made fun of a guy's tuft on his hair, I guess, but we would.
Yeah, but that's his hairstyle. He could change that. It's not so easy to change this problem. Or even like the Kelsey brothers and the hairy backs.
So in a weird way, I'm going to end today's live with stop shaming the Little Richards out there. They don't deserve it any more than somebody who is overweight or somebody who was born homely or whatever adjective you might use to describe somebody who doesn't meet your beauty standards. Do you know what I mean? But I think that's one area that gets no love, no attention, and that we're constantly doing it. And statistically speaking, that means that we're constantly shaming half the people in the room. It's got to stop.
I learned a lot when somebody that was born with like a deformation in their hand or something.
Yeah.
And they wanted everybody to they were just trying to raise awareness about how it'd be really cool if we stopped calling them like deformities and started calling them differences, because really that's ultimately what they are if you take all the negativity out of it.
Yeah. What's the condition where you have like the marbled skin? Vitiligo. I love it. I think it's so wonderful.
I know. I think that body differences are probably one of the coolest things that humans
Me too.
get,
Yeah. When you get like, it's so interesting because like beauty is often like, particularly for women, is often very it's very white, very, very, very like simple.
It's really homogenized.
Very homogenized, very, the lines are very straight and narrow and all this other stuff. Mm-hmm. And, but it's when you start seeing like really interesting faces, that I start getting like, especially as a filmmaker.
Those rhinoplasty videos where they show this woman with like the most gorgeous, like structured, like ancient like bust in a museum type nose you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And she goes to the surgeon and they give him this like tiny little button nose to fix it.
Yeah.
And it looks terrible. It doesn't suit her at all.
Yeah. Why would you do that?
It's just such a crime.
Crime.
Women with big noses are goated.
Yeah, I mean, big noses. I have a big nose, and I was called nosy by an aunt.
I love your big nose.
It bothered me.
Can you imagine if you were like, I hate my nose. I'm going to go get surgery to change my nose and turn it into a little.
I've never felt that self-conscious about my
Dr.
nose.
Seuss character, a Dr. Seuss illustration of a nose. Like a little button.
I love how much the world is moving toward. There's a certain portion of the world that is moving toward, like, differences versus deformities, and like that's where we're going.
The reason why I think is because as everything gets thrown at us that's more and more fake, I think we're really starting to prioritize authenticity. I think that's starting to become like the main currency.
It is.
There's so much fake shit everywhere, and it's like, don't make your face fake. Stop making everything about your life or your body fake. As soon as you see people, like I was one of those people that was really cheering when the underwear ads started featuring like normal looking women. Like not interested in watching this like homogenized idea beauty standards. I want
Yeah.
authenticity. How does it really look?
Exactly.
What are you really selling?
Yeah, I mean,
know?
I'll never dye my hair ever. Like, I just want I have a certain affection for like that idea of returning to being who we are, and rather than who we think people want us to be, or what makes us, this idea, this false idea. That's why it's so interesting. Is like how you can see the pattern of too much money and what that does. And then you think about like, and then you look at how unsatisfying it becomes. Like, people get all rich and they keep, trying to get more money and get more stuff and girls, but they're not getting any happier, and they can't get any happier. And it's scientifically proven that there's only a certain amount of money that actually affects your happiness substantially. And then it just drops off a cliff because money becomes superficial and doesn't matter. Well, so that is also true for vanity and for looks. And so these people who are rich, they're cutting their fucking face up, creating deformities out of themselves because they do the one thing and it feels good and it looks good. And, oh, yeah, I just tightened it up a little. And then all of a sudden, the years go and it sags again, and they get into that same addiction. And what do they end up doing but destroying the way they actually look? In the same way that money destroys their own happiness, because of their either greed for it.
There's an
It's just
ad.
interesting when you think about that, when you look at society being an example for how you really should try to want to live, which is opposite of all of that.
There was an ad for Botox, and the whole ad was centered on the fact that you can still have facial expressions. And so it had all these people, these
Don't believe
actors.
what they say.
They had all these actors that were real Botox patients. Like, they'd actually had the...
Oh my God,
had
it's
it done.
horrific.
I know, but listen. So they were like, it was somebody getting surprised for their birthday, and then like the close-up picture is them being like surprise face, and then another person who was like really, sad or angry or whatever. They had all these people with these different expressions, but you could totally tell that they had Botox faces because they were trying to be
They
expressive.
looked like
and it
their
wasn't
faces
working.
were ironed. They looked ironed.
It was
They're
like
an ironed shirt.
It was such a great example. Like, I don't know if maybe we'll be able to put it on when you edit this. It's just like such a stark example of like, your product really does ruin it. They were trying to make a point about how it doesn't. Dr. Susan said your nose is proportional to your face.
Mine?
Yes, that they're so wrong if they're critical of it.
Oh, it's pretty big. You can put some stuff in
But
it.
it's perfectly proportional to your face. If you had a smaller nose, you would look super different, and you wouldn't have the great face that you have.
Oh, that's so nice of you.
Leo Edit said, I am a big nose girly. OMG.
We got a bunch of big nose. Erica's got a big nose, and her brother's got a big nose. Let's go. We should just form a... Angela's nose ain't no small nose neither.
No, I got this like...
You got some... Your nose got some fucking beef on
It
that.
hunks. It hunks like the best of them.
That's so great.
Erica said, my dad always makes fun of the nose my mom, my brother, and I have, and says it's big, but I love my nose. You got to love your nose.
Fuck, I love your nose too, Erica. And I haven't even seen it. I am your nose fan. I am your nose's fan.
Stefan said, hairstyles are absolutely fair game, though. You paid for that shit.
Well, I was body shaming him because that's true, but I was body shaming him because it's actually a part of his male pattern baldness.
His balding, it was strange.
He was balding, and then he just created a little
But again,
island.
he could have shaved it. He could have done a lot of things.
He also sweeps some over on this side, and it just his. I was making fun of his hair. I was body shaming. I'm guilty of this. This is the thing about this whole thing. I talk about the Little Richard, but it's just like everything else. And it's a perfect example of what I'm talking about when I'm talking about shedding the things that, we kind of get indoctrinated into. Male pattern baldness is just something that was like, we'd always make fun of, just like Little Richard's.
No, they were just making fun of Justin Bieber for hair loss.
Exactly.
And, not for nothing, but like a lot of dudes go bald in their 30s. Like, it's not a big deal. But I think the situation with Justin Bieber and why it's so cruel to make fun of his hair loss is he's probably undergoing a significant amount of stress.
Oh my God.
And that is a very common cause of hair loss.
It's so fucking interesting because like there's that point where you get to in life where you're succeeding, or you've succeeded, and then you have all that and it's amazing. And then once you've lived in that success for a while, like he has, suddenly all of that, which was so unreal, surreal, and beautiful, and lucky, and all this other stuff, it just dissolves into nothing, and it becomes this pattern of your baseline, right? It's just your it's where you begin, and so everything after that is what's real, and so much of your life has just been completely taken away by fame and money, and replaced in this world that is now whatever, this plain thing.
Yeah, it's all just a facade. Like
a facade.
Where's the authenticity?
That's why I can't understand these fucking people still chasing money in their 80s or protecting it. Like, I have a friend who comes from a lot of money, and his parents, like they won't even help him. He needs money. Just simple little bits of money to get out of stress. They're just letting him fucking live in horrible stress. They're worth millions of dollars. This guy's like fucking losing his shit over like 40 grand.
Unnecessarily.
Oh, it's just, I was like, what? Your parents have $10 million or whatever, and you got fucking $40,000 worth of troubles and you can't get help? It's crazy. I don't understand any of it. I was like, why? I literally started shouting, what's it for then? What's the fucking money for?
Yeah, for real.
What is it for? They're in their fucking 80s. They're in their 80s, bro. What is the money for? If it's not to get you out of trouble, at least.
I hope he turns out okay.
He'll be fine.
I can't imagine being in this sort of stress. Like, he's got the Diddy trial. He just became a father. I think he's undergoing that 12th house experience I was talking about earlier. You know, there's a time where, like, you have to recognize when you're being forced down into the underworld. Well, you're supposed to, it's an initiation where you're supposed to transcend and transform and be born into a new version of yourself. And I think a lot of people either don't know what's happening or they resist it happening, which is even worse. That's why people get addicted to drugs. Yeah. But I think that once, I don't know, I feel like if he had some sort of counseling, he might recognize that this is something he has to go through.
Well, here's the thing. He's now,
so he can do better.
He's alienating his friends and family.
That's fucked up.
And he's apparently, friends or family are saying he's, a part of a cult. Now, and there's some pastor who's gotten into his ear, which what you're describing...
That's such a 12th house experience.
It's also such a vulnerable experience.
He needs astrology is what he needs.
He needs help.
Yeah.
He needs intervention. And the problem is, I'm so sorry. The problem with guys like him is that he's in that like yes sir state of life where everyone around him is yesing and yesing and yesing. Everybody around him either wants something or doesn't want to be taken away from something that he offers, whether it's just that, oh, hang on, it's Bieber on the phone, like that, you know. They're at McDonald's, oh, Justin, hang on. You know, mm-hmm. They don't want to lose that, so they don't want to confront this problem.
Yeah, well, if
that's why Leo got away with what he got away with me.
If he's isolating himself from his friends, they don't want to be isolated from him, so they're not going to push back on that. If he's like in the process.
So how do you fucking help him? You know what I mean? You can't help him. George Clooney brought this up.
You have to steal a person.
Yeah, like fucking that. What's that fucking movie? That James Wood movie?
The 12th House also rules hospitals and institutions like prisons and stuff. Yeah. This is sometimes
Angela's talking astrology for those of you who don't know. 12th house of, you know, the astrology wheel, the
sometimes
zodiac,
that is the
zodiacal
place,
wheel.
Sometimes that's the place of healing.
Right.
That's where you experience that like psycho-spiritual clarity for the first time because everything else in your life has stopped. Yeah. And you're forced to only focus on healing. And then you can emerge and go down the wheel, you know, through the wheel to the first house where you get to reacquaint yourself with your identity. Yeah. Right? So that's just the process people have to understand that they're going through. This is the same thing with like addiction recovery as a 12th house experience. It's like it always hurts and it's like this big psychic break, but it's just a part of the human experience of like reinvention. Yeah. Like everybody is capable of being born again. Yeah. You know, and I don't think it's a coincidence that he's a father for the first time.
No, all of this is happening all at once for him.
Yeah, he not only does he have to shed his former self and now become the father self that he's now,
which he probably doesn't feel ready for. Which he probably doesn't even feel ready for.
Nobody ever does.
No.
But he also is now being confronted with the Diddy trial of the most horrific experience of his childhood self, right? That I'm sure has been much easier to not deal with than to actually like contend and dig through. Yeah. So the combination of those two things where he is really he is ready to sever himself from that past self and be born into a new self. I think that he's not really aware that that's what he's going through. And it probably just feels like burning fire. It's a pyrocatharsis. Everything has to be destroyed for it to be built again. And people just go through that in their life. But the destruction is painful, but you end up being reborn.
Countries and just, you know, anyway, cultures. And
that's my take on it. I just always feel so compassionate for people who are going through like really weird, traumatic, like addiction or psychic breaks, like when they have like nervous breakdowns or something. I always just feel really sorry for them. Because
say goodbye to Dr. Susan.
Bye, Dr. Susan.
Goodbye, Dr. Susan.
I've probably gone on too long. We can wrap it up.
Delicate says isolation is a symptom of depression, and it certainly is. I was just thinking about all this, and I got to tell you, you know, like I was reading something by somebody who was talking about their depression, and then they said they talked about how they have to go and like rebuild everything after ghosting everybody. And you know what drives me a little bit crazy about this? Because I lost all my friends to my depression, literally every single friend. You know this, of course. And now that I'm no longer depressed, which I am like not depressed, by the way. Like, and I say that because like it's, to me, as I sit here, like almost amazes me because I literally have no horrible thought. Like I still ruminate. I have like a lot of issues that I'm working through.
It's like an anxiety though, huh?
Yeah, it's more like anxiety. Yeah. It's not depression. Like there's no like,
that's right.
You know, ideation going on or anything like this. But where I'm going with this is that, oh, don't forget to do the Blake recap. Okay. I feel a little bit of resentment toward my friends who didn't see it happening. Like I'm talking about friends that I had for 20 fucking years.
I know, but like
how do they not go like, what's wrong? What is wrong with you? Like, because what happened instead was that they resented me. Like they dropped me because I was ghosting them. In the meantime, I was literally planning my exit from the planet.
But see, here's the thing: is like
nobody's
prepared. Nobody learns how to deal with emotional turmoil, right? Like, were you ever fucking taught about any of that shit? Like, I wasn't.
No.
I don't know what kind of upbringing you have to have.
I just live in it.
In order to be like aware of what your depressed friend is going through and able to like help them in a way that's constructive,
right?
And have the same childhood and upbringing that we did. Like, nobody ever talks about that shit. You know, you're talking about TV shows. You know, you're making friends with people who like the same music that you do. Like nobody has any literacy about emotional problems. No. You know. Read
Dr. Susan's comment about your on TikTok. Cosmic Urgency said that isn't it only a rumor that Diddy did something to Bieber, but even if it is only a rumor, or even if you want to believe Bieber, who says that nothing happened, and it may well be true, I'm not suggesting you don't believe him. It doesn't change the fact that he's living through the publicity nightmare of it all, because you know everybody thinks, most people don't believe Diddy or Bieber. That here's what's interesting. We'll talk about the ultra rich and how things get changed. When Diddy got busted, all we heard about was Jay-Z, Beyonce, Justin Bieber, Leonardo DiCaprio, LeBron James, Kevin Hart. Like these guys are the biggest, richest fuckers on the planet right now in the entertainment industry, right? You don't hear about any of them anymore. Not one of them. Not Justin Bieber, not Jay-Z, not Beyonce.
This is the power of publicity.
This is the power of money. You're going to tell me that every single one of those people are brought up in court? They're not even brought up in court, dude. They're not even brought up in fucking court. It's crazy, dude. And we're talking about every single one of the majors, right? Yes, Mike Myers is there, but Mike Myers doesn't have a DiCaprio pull now, right? And of course, then when they're naming these people, they're not naming them because they're necessarily... Mike Myers was at one of his parties or something, and so he got mentioned.
Oh, no, he got mentioned as being a witness in the case.
No, he got mentioned.
Trial.
Well, okay, that might be true because he got mentioned in the.
He probably heard somebody say something, and that's why he's a witness.
He got mentioned in the asking people if they can handle the jurors, prospective jurors, if they can handle being exposed to celebrity in the way that they will be or whatever. But anyway, it's just these guys are suddenly gone. All of them are gone, dude. All of the major fucking names that were associated to Diddy are gone. It's Epstein all over again.
Dr. Susan said Mike Myers is because of a tattoo in the Goldmember movie. Oh, he had like an inside joke or something. That's interesting. I don't know about this.
Oh, that's crazy. Well, that's so interesting. Well, anyway, I just find it incredibly interesting because if you remember, there was that phase. So then Diddy got busted. You know, DiCaprio fled to Italy, right? Non-extradition.
Fled. Yeah, right. Yeah. Instead of just going on vacation.
He just wanted to be. But like, he fled and all this fucking Beyonce's going down. Everybody's going down. The whole fucking this is going to be the biggest fall of the major stars. Cat Williams predicted it all right to the face of Shannon Sharp, who's at the bottom with, burning like the rest, right?
And then what happens?
Right? What happens? Fucking nothing, dude. Mm-hmm. They all shut it down. But what did we hear in between? What we heard in between, and we can go find the articles, is that these super ultra rich fucking people are buying up the tapes and they're paying people to shut up. That's what we heard. That's what we fucking heard.
I wouldn't doubt it for a minute. Like, I'm not going to make a conspiracy theory about it because I don't know what these people are involved in or not, you know. But even if Justin Bieber wasn't, if all of those rumors about him being involved with Diddy in some way were false, Justin Bieber still has to deal with that. He still has to deal with the rumors.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. It doesn't even matter.
So it's harmful regardless.
Sure.
That's another thing he's dealing
for
with.
the stress, on the stress level, you know, I mean, look, there were rumors forever about Bieber and Diddy and what went down there. That this isn't new. It's just now been brought to the surface in a very painful way,
Right.
and in a way that's potentially damaging to his reputation and so on and so forth.
So my whole point
But
for
he's
saying all
withdrawing,
of that,
it seems.
I'm sorry.
You go ahead.
My whole point for saying all of that about Justin Bieber is that I just feel really compassionate for him, and I'm really sorry that he's going through something that's obviously really trying, and he's not.
Yeah, me too.
He doesn't seem like he's coping with any of it very well, and I don't want to see any more like tabloid headlines about how he looks weird. Like, I just feel like that's all really cold, and
Yeah, there's all kinds of.
it
like,
reminds me of
turbos.
Britney Spears when she was very obviously having a mental breakdown,
And Amanda Bynes.
and everybody made fun of her.
And Amanda Bynes too. In
It
the
didn't help anybody.
early stages of Amanda Bynes' struggles, there was a lot of body shaming about the way she had physically changed from when she was her
Like, did we
child
learn
self.
nothing? Like, we shouldn't be doing it to
I
him.
really fucking wish people would stop doing that. And they will. Hey, listen, you guys, you're fucking amazing. Thank you for the almost 2,500 likes over on TikTok. Thank you for the likes and subscribers over here on YouTube. We'll be back again tomorrow. You guys are fucking amazing. And we had a really great time tonight. Remember, man, leave the little Richards alone, man. They didn't do anything to you. Just leave the little Richards alone, all right? All right. You ready to say goodnight, Angela?
Good night.
Good night. I'll see you tomorrow.